we did it again. Verizon was just named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics for the 16th time in a row, proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon builds networks. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network, Verizon. Best and most reliable based on Root Metrics reports from second half 2013 to first half 2021 of 3 operators on all network types combined, not specific to 5G networks.
Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the re-sculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rule. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just been playing Call of Duty all weekend, the beta, and shooting people and getting shot, and watching a lot of people scramble on Twitter, and same old. But there was some G1 this weekend, and there was I had a fun weekend. So what's up with you, man?
Not too much. I
went to Shine last night.
Yeah. And then, you asked me if I was going the last second. I was like, I don't know how you thought I was going, but I am not. I am still shooketh of the vid. How many times have I seen you since the pandemic? Like 3 times in person?
Probably like 3, maybe 4 at the most.
Yeah, guess how much I've seen all my other friends?
I don't know.
Less than that. Yeah, so, but anyway, man, I caught up on, Stardom. I ended up cramming, in 3 shows, and, I'm sleep deprived, but, what else is new? But yeah, I am staying away from G1 for now. Rich actually watched night 1 of the G1. He'll give you, his thoughts on it. Later in the show, I will then pull off my headphones and then just be out on up for that segment. That's Rich's segment. Rich's G1 segment will be very similar to my Stardom segment. I said I had absolutely nothing to add to his G1 segment. I'll start watching G1 once the Grand Prix is done on Saturday. I just don't want to. That's too much wrestling. I still even finish when we do Thursday's midweek show when we preview this weekend with Extreme Rules. And with the Grand Prix final, I'll have to watch 3 more shows to by the time to catch up to it, because the third show or the penultimate show is on, I believe, Wednesday. So yeah. Anyway, I guess let's get to it. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the world of wrestling. Some stuff we actually missed. Last week during the show, we do, before this, when we do a call before we do the show, we talk about what's going to be on the show. And we mentioned Big E becoming WWE Champion, and it slipped our minds. I don't know why, but it slipped our minds out of everything else. But, I guess that's where we start. Big E is the world champion, or the WWE Champion. Very happy for him. Quite frankly, like, it's something that probably should have happened a while ago. It's something that we clamored for, wondering, like, why isn't this happening? Me and Rich for years have talked about the New Day and the kind of merch machines they've been for years. And if anybody else would move merch like them, one of them three would have been world champion, WWE champion. It happened with Kofi, mostly because of the circumstances of the gauntlet he was in. He got super hot, and Daniel Bryan was with it. But Big E was somebody we thought, like, had legs as being someone that could fit the mold of what this man has wanted out of his champions. He's a big, gigantic person, wide as hell. The height might be an issue for him, but, like, he has charisma, he has the talk, he has the weird haircut, he has the larger than life personality. Just something that we thought he was almost like something that could have happened for him years ago, and we thought maybe it passed him. So I'm happy that it happened. And I wonder where this goes. Like, I'm going to check out the Raw probably tomorrow to see what happened with the New Day versus the Usos and Roman, and that triple threat match that they're going to do, or they turned it into with Roman and Big E and Lashley later. But I had for the dude. They're like, this is like, this and Bianca are like the two, like, best shining rays, or any rays I hope in the company of this year, to be quite honest with you. So I more like say is I'm happy for him. What are your thoughts on it, Rich?
Yeah, man. I figured, I remember saying the night that he won the Money in the Bank, I figured that he would win it. I didn't think this was a situation where they would embarrass him or take it off of him like an Otis or someone like that. I think the cash-in, the execution absolutely sucked. Rolling up on the babyface and Bobby Lashley as as a babyface on Bobby Lashley while he's injured with the bad leg. I would have preferred him to call out, in advance for a match, but they are in Hotshot City right now, so almost anything's on the table right now. Personally, I'm very happy for Big E to actually win the title. I think the execution of it could have been better. I think they still are protecting Lashley to a degree. They have a lot to show me with Big E, because just a couple months ago he was on the pre-show, or last month at SummerSlam, and I don't know what necessarily has changed about his booking, except that he has the title at this point. I am thinking I've never moved off the point that he needs to change something about himself. And I think a lot of people are taking a victory lap saying he didn't have to change in order to win the title. But I want to remind people that titles are fake. I think the status is more important than the title. Are you a top star? Are you someone that's going to endure like at the top level? Because Big E largely as a single is untested. As a tag team, he's an all-time tag team wrestler in that company. And I think, they've got to have opponents lined up for him. It's happening in football season, so that never really inspires confidence, because they, how they get down with what they try to roll out there, because they're just trying to buy time to get to Royal Rumble season, it seems like most times. I hope that he has a phenomenal reign and blows all of my concerns out of the water, but they got me with the Kofi Kingston one. They're not going to get me again. I'm keeping them at arm's length. And like I said, personally, happy for Big E. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Love pouring out from all corners of the wrestling community. And I think that he is someone that is if you are thinking about a success story in WWE, it's Big E. He could have been a world champion in 2016, honestly. It sucks that they had to wait until he was 35 years old. And if I sound like I'm bringing a lot of this stuff up right now when I should just be in pure jubilation celebration mode, this is what they've done. Like, I'm making sure no one forgets. Like, it didn't have to be this way. It could have been earlier. So I think that Big E, build the show around him. really give him a shot as a top star and see, because he is short, like you mentioned, James. And
when I say short, I mean like, are you shorter than Vince McMahon? Because that's what short is. Like if you are below 6'1", he thinks of you as short.
Yeah. So it's going to depend on the heels they got lined up. They've got Lashley sitting there, but there's Goldberg lurking around. There's Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of factors, and there's like a Survivor Series that they're going to have to figure out coming soon. So I don't know, man. I personally would have liked more. In the lead in to him actually heat him up before he wins. But,
yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I saw a bunch of people saying that, well, there have been people that were complaining about it not being long form storytelling. For me, is like, it's Raw. I don't give a fuck about long form storytelling on Raw. Just have it be something that no one gives a fuck about. And then the people that saw that were replying saying like, well, he has been feuding with Roman and annoying Roman and been around Roman. I was like, wait, so your defense is that he was annoying the champion on the A show and decided to leave and to go to the B show as opposed to like challenging for the A show title? That doesn't make much sense.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense to me, but I'm also with y'all on the part where it's like, who gives a fuck about long form storytelling? Raw fucking sucks. Save it with anything. So, I was in the middle, typically like usual, I guess, when it comes to like the discourse going on, far on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But I want to double back to something, and you said this before. So when you say that like Big E needs to change something to make it work, do you think that Big E actually needs to change something, or do you think that like he needs to change something so that Vince won't pull the plug on it?
I think a little bit of both, because I just feel like he's been set in a role for so long as not a top star. Like, just flipping the switch, like, is like, unless you're like he's been in the New Day since 2014, largely being the same character, making the same overall contribution to the show. If that's on top of the show, I'm sorry, I don't want to see that as the main eventer. Like I need another layer. I need the passion. I need like something like, and there's always a threat of Vince pulling the plug on shit. Like, look what he did to Bianca. Like, so like everything could be going well. It don't fucking matter. Like,
right. I just for me, I'm wondering, like, I think that Big E, if he were in any other promotion, wouldn't have to change nothing. It would just be on top. And like, obviously, it would be able to show more of his personality. They would take more care and protect him as a babyface. But this is a heat company, so it's like, even if they didn't, I feel like almost if they did make him angry, Big E, like vengeful Big E after something happens to like one of his boys in New Day, like, I think that he will still be at risk of getting screwed with, because Vince is just like Vince at this point. Like Vince, like Vince can fuck up a cup of coffee. We talk about it all the time. Like it like, I almost feel like I know what Tony Khan would do with him. Like, I know what Rossio Gal would do with him. I know what Gato before the pandemic would have done with him. You know what I mean? Like, I know what MLW. I know what MLW would have done with him. I know what Ring of Honor would have done with him. I know what NWA would have done with him. I know what Impact would have done with him. It's just there's one booker in particular that can't remember what the fuck he did the week before. It's the only one that will fuck this up. So it's like, I kind of think like So I was wondering, like, if you felt like he needs to change for the sake of appealing more towards Vince, who ultimately is the only person that matters because he'll change it, or do you think he needs to change it for the actual audience that already buys in and believes in him to at least some degree? So that's what I was wondering. That's all.
Yeah. I think that he's got a unique opportunity to maybe prove something to someone that is skeptical. Like, maybe he doesn't have to change anything. It would be against like a lot of history. It would be against a lot of history that shows that, like, hey, there needs to be some type of transition. Like we can talk about, I can pull up Kenny Omega in New Japan and talk about what Kenny Omega was, as a junior heavyweight, and then as a intercontinental champion, and then what he was as the IWGP champion per se. Like those are all different kind of people. But
agree, Big
E, I don't know. And I don't trust the booking around him to bring that out. So I think it's up to him. Like he's gonna have to show us, and I believe in him. Like I think he can do it. Like if the challenge is hey, you need to show something else, I think he can show something else. Right. But I'm concerned that he doesn't want to.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like I don't know anyone that's doubting that dude. If you give him the opportunity to say everything with his full chest, and like. It wouldn't work because, like, we've seen it for 7 fucking years already. At a certain level, it's like, I think you're right. So, you're right to the extent. Like, maybe he might be starting to say, "I'm going to just be, what I've been, and that's enough." Like, but I think he has levels, and I think he'll rise to the occasion. But it like it says, it comes down to what the fuck that crazy guy's going to do. So. But yeah, like happy and I'm interested to see these matches. I can't wait for Drew McIntyre to have a match. That's gonna be fucking fun. That's gonna be fun whenever they do it. Like if he can hold the belt that long, if he can hold on to the belt like that, I'm telling you, like that Lashley, that McIntyre, and that Roman Reigns combination. If he can get the Survivor Series, like that's gonna be fun. Like at least the match will be fun. Like who knows what they come up with? They might have him do an obstacle course like he had Bianca do an obstacle course, but either way, like the big matches will big match, and it'll be fun.
Keep him away from Jackson Riker. Keep him away from Jinder. Keep him away from Cross. Keep him away from any other various stiffs that they have lurking around Monday Night Raw. So
I don't even. Look. You know how people say like a college team. Is about to head to, their big rival game the week before. You're like, they're trap game, upset alert. Hey, you see them sirens? You see them red sirens turning? We need to be on Corbin alert.
True.
Corbin all of a sudden like, what is he doing? What is he doing on the red brand? The draft isn't for a couple more weeks. I've started early. I'm here to stop all of the love. I'm ready to squash it. So be careful, please. I really hope this one works. Like I was very at the start, like off rip, just like I was not finna buy into the Kofi thing, like because but like I have more reason for optimism with Biggie. He fits more of the things that Vince likes. So, I hope it works out, and I can't wait to see what they have for him come this pay-per-view, because I don't think he has a match out yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be like Lashley probably. Something.
Yeah, I'd assume it's a rematch or something.
Yeah,
with Lashley, and that'll tell us a lot too, like how they booked that match, because it will go a long way. They need to figure something out, like, quick.
All right, so what's next? I know there's two other things important. Where do you want to go?
Owen Hart.
Okay, we're gonna say the press shit for last. Okay, I see you. I appreciate that.
Trying to uplift.
You have to give me the particular details, but because I don't know the full details, but I know the gist. So if you want to go expand on it more than I would. Or do you want me to set you up for it?
I am looking for the actual news story. So
okay,
so AEW and the Owen Hart Foundation are creating a new tournament and new merchandise as part of a deal, like basically like where AEW is going to like shepherd the legacy of Owen Hart, and this is in conjunction with Martha Hart, which is very unique because if there's anybody that's on some fuck Vince McMahon forever shit, it's her, and she has every right to be. So this basically will include production and distribution of unique and original merchandise like action figures, apparel, posters, and other collectibles, and inclusion in the upcoming AEW video game. The tournament that they're going to have is going to be the Owen Hart Cup, and the trophy is going to be called the Owen. And they basically are like, if you guys don't know about the Owen Hart Foundation, his wife started it in the year 2000. It's a nonprofit, and it provides global aid to at-risk communities with scholarships, housing, food drives, backpack giveaways, and more. Owen Hart, Martha put out a press release. She was extremely pleased to partner with AEW in this wonderful joint venture to honor Owen's substantial international wrestling career. And I like how they worded that, by the way. And the lasting influence he and his craft has had in the sport. AEW's Owen Hart Cup tournament serves as a tremendous tribute to Owen and provides an incredible way for professional wrestling enthusiasts to celebrate his work in a most fitting way. We trust that Tony Khan and his amazing AEW team will do a brilliant job with this highly anticipated project. This OHF/AEW partnership is my special gift to all of Owen's magnificent loyal fans who forever remember him and his inspiring repertoire of talents.
Okay, so I mean that's a lot of stuff, but the main thing is the likeness and images and merchandising of Owen Hart is going to AEW, and it will be the first time in a very long. I don't think he had a PWTs, did he? He may have had some stuff.
Yeah, she worked with Pro Wrestling Tees on a couple of shirts, and she was on the Jericho podcast before, and then she did Dark Side of the Ring with Owen Hart like last year or something. And then
I couldn't watch it because that was also the same. That was like an episode like either after or like a couple weeks after the Benoit one, and like the Benoit 81 just devastated me. So and I want to fucking cry, but no. So I didn't have the emotional headspace to like want to watch more depressing, sad shit that made me super sad. Owen's one of the best heels I ever saw. Like I wonder, and I hated his guts when we were younger because he was such a dick to Brett, and I couldn't understand it, and I was getting worked. Very similar to Ric Flair with me when I was young. Very similar to Jericho when I was young. I wonder. Everybody speaks glowingly of him. Obviously, no one really speaks glowingly of the dead. Like I would say that, like I don't like the stories people have, like Mick Foley and him talking about who can out cheap them way through a road trip. That doesn't sound as endearing to me as it does to other people. But yeah, like Owen was a great worker. Owen was an innovator to an extent. Owen like helped influence the style that like we see today. Like he's definitely like he made professional wrestling as a whole for Western fans better. And you know, obviously Vince, you know, was up and down and hot and cold with him over the years. You know, and a lot of had to play with like, you know, whatever was happening with Brett at the time or was happening with sometimes with Bulldog, and Anvil was a fuck up in different times. But Owen always seemed like a super solid guy from the stuff that I've heard of the 90s stuff. So you know, for me, I think it's really cool to see someone that was that beloved and that kind of and somebody that like a lot of people like took pieces from and added to their game over the decades. That like this person is, you know, their legacy is while short, it could still be shown and like and showcased. And like I'm interested to see what the tournament entails. Like if this turns in some like their version of like, I don't know, like some some version of like a best of Super J Cup or whatever. That'd be cool as hell. But you know, bringing in a bunch of international talent, people from unsigned from WWE or not WWE, AEW coming in or whatever else, like that'd be cool as hell. So we'll see what they do with it. I'm interested to see what they do. It's another case of like AEW, like, you know, they treat their legends well. They treat pro wrestling like very well. Like I remember, a lot of people were, or not a lot, a few people that have talked about like since CM Punk came back and talked about how, you know, the Ring of Honor promo when he talked about like I left professional wrestling 2000, I think it was 2009 or 2008 or whatever year it was.
2005. 2005.
I thought it was 2005. I was like, that don't sound close enough. But yeah, I forgot he's there way before Brian. But when he said that, like a lot of people were like, what exactly is the difference between professional wrestling and sports entertainment? And like, I mean, not that much, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion. Like, but a lot of it comes down to like Vince McMahon and WWE like being insulated from the rest of the world. Like, when someone dies in professional wrestling and around the world at a certain level, AEW is gonna pick it up, mention it in passing, or at least put up a graphic. Like, not saying that WWE is wrong for this. I don't think they're wrong for this, but when Hana Kimura died, AEW on the very next show put up a graphic for her and then talked about her, right? And me and you talked about on the show, like, she was somebody that seemingly was destined to come over here. She was already, she spoke better English than I think pretty much any other person on the Stardom roster or whatever else. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying that WWE is wrong for not doing this. I'm just saying it's a philosophy. And there was no doubt in anyone's mind that, like, she wasn't going to be put up there. Not saying that WWE's at fault or is a bad guy for not doing it. That's just not what they do. Like, it's philosophy. Like, if you work for WWE, then yeah, she would have been up there. But she's a part of the wrestling world, not sports entertainment. And, a lot of times Vince and Vince's lackeys do the sports entertainment thing, and it's really just a cop-out just to use that excuse to do whatever wacky thing they want to do. Mm-hmm. But, like, that is the difference. Like, are you a part of this network, this fraternity, sorority, whatever you want to say, this club or this network of clubhouses, this group of people, this network, or are you not? And WWE had said no, and I don't necessarily fault them for it because they didn't want anybody, because it was a business decision to do this, right? But this is when people say that kind of stuff, this is how it manifests. And, like, Owen, with Martha and Owen and, the lawsuit and the settlement and all that kind of stuff, like, he was never going to be in WWE Hall of Fame no matter how many fans wanted it or whatever else. And, like, that was Martha's decision, and that's how she wanted to handle it. And I don't really see a problem with that. But I think that Owen being able to, like, be people to see glimpses of his career that maybe not were familiar with, or people that are younger, since there's a lot of young fans in AEW, get to see, like, there's some stuff this dude was able to do and was doing, ahead of his time. Like, so I think that's really cool.
Yeah, man. I think this is great. And this is, from someone that I was a huge Owen Hart fan. Like, the first, like, real match that I've mentioned this, I remember the 19-year anniversary, I did a segment, on Owen Hart, and it was a solo show I did. And the first real professional wrestling match that I watched a whole bunch of times was Shawn Michaels versus Owen Hart in February '96. I just had the hot box, and then, just it played a million times. So I got to see it all the time, and I thought it was phenomenal. And, he was a big part of my youth as a wrestling fan, and, obviously the tragedy of his death. And I was someone that watched the dark side of the ring and figured after all those years, eventually Martha would break. We can't forget about Mark Henry showing up to the WWE Hall of Fame, and he was crying, saying, and that felt weird because we all knew that Martha wasn't having that shit. And it was like this pressure, like, it was like, did someone put him up to say this? Like, there was a lot that was going on there. And I'm happy, like, Mark Henry is probably somewhere going to be involved in this, I would think, in the future. But I think watching the dark side of the ring gave me a whole new perspective on Martha Hart and the narrative that was surrounding her. Mm-hmm. It was like she hated wrestling, and she hated the fans and all this other stuff. And that she would basically, like, she was this mad woman who essentially was keeping this man's legacy in death when she couldn't have him in life and all this other stuff. But she was someone that loved and supported Owen Hart, loved wrestling, but hated WWE, hated Vince McMahon, hated their negligence that led to the death of her husband, the love of her life. And as far as I know, like, I don't know if she's remarried or anything, but that's not really important either. But what's come out of it is the Owen Hart Foundation. And seeing her in that press release be so glowingly happy about this new custodian of history that, you know, these people that, and it goes with the CM Punk thing, these people that you thought were like done with wrestling, like they're just showing up in AEW. And like, this is just showing that AEW is like really where the culture of wrestling is. And I think, you know, I saw a lot of disgusting stuff, quite frankly, on Twitter today. And I was quite frankly like, you know, I see it all like on the timeline, like, and I expect the worst, and I saw the worst, quite frankly. And I think people need to readjust their lives, find out what's really bothering them, and get fucked, stay fucked. If they're upset with this, Owen Hart, like I you know, I don't care who honors him. Like, but the fact that AEW is going to get to do it, they have the vote of confidence from the family. For me, that's the most important thing. You can always watch an Owen Hart match on the WWE Network if it bothers you that bad. I didn't expect, you know, the some of the stuff I saw on Twitter, like, you know, the company that was responsible for his death should be the only one allowed to celebrate him. I didn't expect that today, but I saw a lot of garbage, and I think, you know, people just need to, like I said, reevaluate, find out what's wrong on the inside, because I think the legacy and the celebration of Owen Hart is a lot bigger than the wrestling war, but it's also an illustration of the philosophies, as James, you know, talked about, and also like, just like, it's going to make people confront what WWE's actual role is in this, and they don't like it. And Martha Hart talked about the fucking thing that was on, you know, his harness. It was like a clip, like a sailing clip. And I had never seen or heard that version of it. She showed the damn clip, and I'm like, how is that supposed to hold a 220-pound man? It was absolutely negligence. It was a murder scene, a crime scene. The show should have been stopped. For me, it's one of the darkest moments in the history of professional wrestling. I'm shocked that so much of the Hart family has continued to, you know, associate with WWE. But, you know, that I know that's the game. Like, that was the only game in town. Like, and there was a lot of pride swallowing, I imagine, going on with that. And, you know, you guys all know about the Hart family stories. Like, some of the families fractured, broken up behind this. I believe Brett and Martha had problems over the years a lot, because Brett was just insisting that she let them celebrate him. But now there's another option, and she seems happy to celebrate his New Japan run. She seems happy to celebrate his international career and Stampede and everything else. And I think it's a great thing. And, you know, that people are going to be able to seek these other things of Owen that they may not have seen. There's a great Owen Hart Jushin Thunder Liger match that's on, I believe it's on New Japan World. You guys should check it out. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the trash, and not really name too much about it, but that kind of hung around the announcement today, and it was sad to see, quite frankly.
Yeah. You know me, like, I don't like when AEW throws shots at WWE, because like I kind of want to get to, like, the sooner we get past like this stupid shit where fans are tribbing up about their professional wrestling promotion, like the better. I just want to watch people I just want to watch like compelling characters like try to beat each other the fuck up. Like, I don't really care about all this other stuff around it. Like, if you want, you know, if Christian wants to throw shots and you know, make the developmental joke line or whatever else, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. But like, for me, I'm just over it. So like, I'll just roll my eyes and just move on with the rest of the show. But for me, like, to see some of the people like say stuff about like
they need to sue AEW.
Yeah, it's like, they need to sue AEW. Martha is like messing up his legacy. Like she doesn't really care about Owen because she got paid like $6 million, and that's when I saw a tweet, or one of y'all sent me in the thing, and that's when I was like, all right, enough. Like, I literally added that person, found him, clicked on it, quote tweeted, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and tweeted. Like, I was disgusted by that one. Like, I just but anyway, like, happy to have Owen, like, represented in a certain, in some kind of way. And like people be able to see him that like probably never saw him before, or saw certain, and see him in different lights than he ever was. Like, that was talented as hell. So, I don't really have much more to say than that, but other than say, like, I'm interested to see what they do with it. Interested to see what the merch looks like and all that kind of stuff. Like, in fact, wait, I think, wasn't it one Christmas? Did I buy you that Owen Hart WWE DVD?
Yep.
One Christmas? Yeah. Like, I mean, like, when you were talking about, it made me think of it when you were talking about how much a fan you were of his. I remember that. That's why I bought you that. But yeah, like, real, just happy. Like, Big E and Owen, this is a pretty good week, man. It really was.
Yeah, I want the 1994 through 1996 slick back hair Owen in the video game. I don't want the crew cut one. Like, I want the 1994 through 1996 with the big knee pads, with the other knee pad underneath, and the shiny black patent leather boots, and the slick back, and the slammies, and the cast, however you want to do that. King of the Ring 94, I need the pink singlet as an option in the video game. So I saw a lot of people talking about, Owen Hart never worked for AEW and all this other stuff. Well, perhaps today he could have been if it weren't for WWE's negligence.
Yeah, so I guess moving on to the next topic of discussion, we'll get to the dark side of the ring and all of the bad stuff from the plane ride from hell that a lot of people were either relearning or learning for the first time, and a lot of people were disgusted, and rightfully so. When I heard about the plane ride from hell in Ric Flair, I had heard that he was naked in the robe, and he flashed the flight attendants, which is bad enough. I did not know that he sexually assaulted somebody.
Yeah, he's since come out on Twitter earlier tonight and denied it ever happened, but I watched that show,
Christ.
And Heidi Doyle was the lady's name, and the way she told it, where she wasn't even, it wasn't like she was sad or angry. She was just kind of like, yeah, this is what went on. And this didn't sound like a lady that was coming out here doing some make-believe. Like, obviously she took a settlement back in the day. So I don't know, that kind of puts me at least in a weird place on how to deal with that. I'm like, all right, there was some type of concession made. There was some type of, she's never going to get that back as far as like, her dignity being played with, from Ric Flair. Should that, have been the case there, and everything else that happened on the plane. And it was just like, man, a lot of people that we like, obviously the culture of wrestling is a lot different now than it was then, but it's not that different. And these are all stories that I was familiar with, knew of, read in books. WWE is glorified in some cases, as recently as a couple years ago with ESPN and the 30 for 30 stuff. They were making cartoon reenactments of this stuff, James. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember they used to do story time. That show
it was just like that.
Which another another one of those great things that's on the network that like, it's like, why is everything on the network so good, but Vince McMahon's creative so bad? Like they would do different stories. One of the stories was like I believe this was a different plane ride story, the one on story time, but either way, there has been tons of stories of Ric Flair like pulling his dick out on people. Plenty of them. So like, hell, I want to say a couple months ago I talked about a story where it was Ric Flair with Jim Ross, and they were in the back of a limo with like 2 or 3 women, and he decides to pull his dick out, and the women freak out and got in the car, and then Jim Ross was like, what the fuck? And he said, Jim, gotta tell you, if you had not been here, if you had not been here, there was like a certain percent chance that like something good was finna go down, but you being there fucked up the vibe. Like, nah, man, you pull out your dick, fucked up the vibe. Like, don't do that to people. Like, you know, and the lady, her name is Sandy Doyle, right?
Heidi Doyle.
Sandy Doyle. I think this is an actress or a character from a TV show, but Heidi Doyle, like, whether or not you believe Heidi Doyle don't really matter once you have Tommy Dreamer fucking confirm the story and then say it was okay because it was Ric Flair and Ric Flair was being Ric Flair. Like, I don't know what it is, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and like in penises. I don't know what to make them want to act out they damn mind or whatever else. Like, you know, it's Ric Flair and first off, your name is Eric Fleer, but whatever. It's Ric Flair and then there's the Nature Boy and then like there's Terry and then there's Hulk Hogan and like for some reason like the Nature Boy and Hulk Hogan like have play weird penis games. I don't know. I don't get it, or I don't know. Like, it's weird, man. It's weird.
I ain't never heard no stories about Bret Hart whipping his meat out at nobody.
I hope not. At this point, who knows? Look, who knows, bro? The wrestlers were doing some terrible, fucked up stuff. I'm not gonna get into the back talk or the back and forth about culture and people were going and killing Undertaker about, you know, the interview he did a few months ago, maybe a year ago, talking about like. All these, I miss when, these dudes had guns and knives and whatever else. These dudes play video games, whatever. It's like, look, man, because quite frankly, speaking out was just a year ago. All them video game nerds will rape you too. So like, don't act like this is some, what changed my perspective on all of this stuff, as far as generations getting better, blah, 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 blah. Maybe they have, but like, they're still terrible people. I remember reading an article or essay from somebody that said, and the headline was, I've been raped by nicer men than you. And it went down talking about like, like people that know how to play nice guys, pretend to act or whatever else, or maybe really are nice guys and polite and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll fucking date rape you and get away with it because look at rape statistics. So like, for prosecution, from the amount that happened compared to prosecutions, compared to arrests, compared to convictions, compared to time served, like it is embarrassingly low. So like we got to stop doing this. Like keep your fucking hands to yourself.
Yeah.
This is I know I'm sounding like I'm doing the rant thing, whatever, but like I'm not trying to. This is fucking obvious. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Or maybe for keep your dick to yourself. I'm sorry.
Tommy Dreamer equating his ponytail to people being offended. Like, I'm like, dog, like you gotta go in timeout for a little bit. Like, it's like, did you know the camera was on? Like, did you see the red light? So it's like, if the answer was yes, nothing like that should have came out. Yeah. But
like, who did he think he was talking to?
Who did he think he was? Like, I'm Tommy Dreamer. I'm untouchable. What?
He was upholding the fraternity. He was protecting the institution. That is Ric Flair, but it's Ric Flair don't need that kind of protection.
Look, you remember what Lester Freeman used to say? The job will not save you. Like, the job did not save you, Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't see his apology. I didn't read it. Whatever. Hopefully, he has or is on the path towards a realization that like that shit ain't cool and you protecting them, whatever, ain't cool. Like, like I think it's easy for me because me and Rich, we've had this conversation where like when someone pulls a racism, like, bruh, just because I know you and you pull a racism does not mean I will come save you. Most likely I'd be like, yeah, he should have done that shit and moved on and then like move on from there. Cause like, I ain't here to defend you. You're a grown fucking adult. You're here to defend yourself. Right. Like, I don't like it, like, if I ever get myself in some shit where I say the wrong thing on a podcast, whatever else, and it blows up, whatever else, I would hope, or let me phrase that. I would hope that, people do not feel the need to defend me or whatever else, that know me or whatever else. Like, that doesn't serve any purpose. Like, I know this person speaks to his character. There ain't the character to be concerned with. It's the words the person said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when people talk about, worrying about whether or not someone's heart is racing, like, nah, bro, we're kind of past that.
I don't care about the heart.
I'm not really here about, like, what's in this person's soul. Like, like, you could be perfectly fine and still be, a unwitting participant in institutional racism and all the structures beyond that. Like, we're past that. So, like, when we're talking about, like...
I don't care about your bones.
Right, so when we talk... Right, there's not a racist bone in my body. So when we talk about, like, rape culture and all that kind of stuff, Tommy Dreamer going to bat for him after he saw what he fucking saw as it was cool and just, as Ric Flair fucking around in front of a bunch of guys, like, nah, bro, that shit was foul. And you knew it was foul. And you fucking needed to defend it because you knew it was foul.
Yikes. Ric Flair is going to have to atone for this. I think his future, his AEW future, is probably likely not going to happen, at least in the near future, until something happens. But that'd be a really bad look, shit, because he's been hanging around AEW. There's been pictures coming out. Him and Sting were backstage. They got a show. I mean,
look,
we knew that was his destination, likely.
Yeah. I would say, like, it ain't gonna happen. Don't need to be happening at this point after this shit comes out. And quite frankly, Ric Flair has done a lot of stuff to where he shouldn't be on anyone's TV anyway. This is some isolated incident, like we mentioned before. Like, there's a lot of stuff in a lot of these wrestlers' past that is not good for business. Yet they keep bringing these wrestlers with these pasts around because they can pop a rating.
And pop a rating, and some people really don't think it's that bad.
Right, because they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So up next, transitioning into happier things. AEW Dynamite.
Think about real quick. Think about Big E, WWE Champion. Think about Owen Hart, the Owen tournament and trophy. Think about, like, getting to AEW Grand Slam Arthur Ashe week. Think about the start of the G1, and then think about, like, the Stardom matches we watched. All of that positivity, and then the fucking valley of sadness that was Ric Flair, molesting somebody, like, or sexually assaulting somebody is a more appropriate definition of what happened. Like, yeah, so what was it, like 2 months ago we were talking about Ric Flair eating pussy on the train? A degenerate.
All jokes.
A degenerate. Yeah. So let's get ourselves out of the valley and back to the fun stuff.
We did it again. Verizon was just named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics for the 16th time in a row, proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon builds networks. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network, Verizon. Best and most reliable based on Root Metrics reports from second half 2013 to first half 2021 of 3 operators on all network types combined, not specific to 5G networks.
Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the re-sculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.
AEW.
AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, biggest show in company history, over 18,000 plus sold, I think creeping up on 19,000 sold. 2 shows, both 2 hours next week. This is the biggest show in company history. It's going to be the biggest match. Obviously, we got a 9-title match between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega. I guess we can start there. Very excited for this. Bryan Danielson, when the moment he came in the company at All Out, made a beeline to the ring, and there was one guy waiting for him, the dude with the belt. Big time dream match. Bryan Danielson comes fresh off of main event in WrestleMania. What's going on, Sharju? In the chat. But yeah, man, I think this is going to be an excellent match. Understatement. Obviously, like, these are my two favorite wrestlers, and this is a treat for me. So I'm interested to see what you think about this one, James.
Yeah, excited for the match. I mean, quite frankly, outside of matches that aren't even announced and I'm not even promising necessarily get, just assume it's going to happen. Like, I don't see a match that I more anticipate the rest of this year. I'm concerned. It makes me question, like, what are we going to get as far as like a time limit? What are we going to get as far as like commercial breaks? What have you? But Daniel Bryan outside of WWE, because it's been so long, is intriguing. Kenny Omega, when he needs to have a gigantic big match, is as sure as bet as just about anyone in the world. So, they're going to have the match, and it's going to be really fun. It's going to be great. It's almost a guarantee. It's going to be great, barring some type of weird freak injury or whatever else. And it's going to be fun. I'm just concerned, though, like, how much time they're going to have with TV and commercial breaks and all that kind of stuff. That's really it. Like, I've seen people say that, like, they don't get why they're doing this. And I also have my concern not concern, but kind of like, backseat booking, kind of like, hey, bro, y'all kind of already sold the house for Arthur Ashe. Like, y'all could have got another house out of this match. But, that's neither here nor there, I guess, at this point. Like, they're going to do it, and that's really cool. The whole entire show it feels like a pay-per-view, but it's going to be on TV between the 4 hours of Dynamite and Rampage this weekend. It's going to be really cool.
And this is all coming in the heels of it being after All Out. And I think that I'm trying to see like what the best finish for this would be. Like, personally, I don't think Kenny should be losing another match to set up another title match. I'm in favor of the draw here, and tell him, hey, go have a 5-star draw, whatever you got to do. And whether it's Kenny's in the submission at the end, whether there's like a one-wing angel happening, and Kenny's like, I could have beat him, however you want to do it. I think those are both viable ways to get to another match. And I think that everyone's going to be really happy here.
I got one for you. What's the length of our non-title matches in AEW? Is it 20 minutes?
It's 20, but they may have to open it up to at least 30. But
I got one for you.
They're going to do the no time limit.
They're going to go 20 minutes. They're going to say, give us more time. They're going to go. They're going to start hot and have some of the best wrestling you'll ever see in your life. And then they both gonna fall and collapse, and then the ref has to call it. They gonna do like Rich. You had said back in June when Shuri and Utami had one of the 3 best matches of the year that I've seen. When they did that fucking thing, you were like, "What happens if that? I can see that coming over to the States." Like, bro, don't speak that shit into existence. Well, we gonna see if this shit happens. I'm gonna show up on Thursday on the midweek show. I'm gonna say, Rich, I fucking told you should never said that shit. You should have mentioned it. They don't ever bring up Stardom except for small little points. It's your fault. You did this. How many times we gotta say that Tony? Do we have to point out that Tony Khan obviously be listening to everybody else that does podcasts? That man.
He might be in the chat right now.
This man's podcast catcher gotta be hell. Like, this man must be listening to like all the stuff, everything. That's gotta be so.
What speed do you think Tony Khan listens to his podcast
3.
on?
3 flat. That man is doing. He's out here listening to that shit while working out. When I put the shit to 3, I gotta strain to understand everything that's happening. Yeah. But yeah, man. All jokes aside,
promo last week.
Yes.
Kenny like had this look in his eye, like where he dropped like the facade of the heel champion that he had, and it was just like more like a prideful thing. I think it was just like, yo, like the belt's not being challenged, like my pride is being challenged right now. And Brian just let him know, like, yo, Callis, you're a piece of shit, and one day it's gonna be about the belt, but for now I want to see the best bout machine. I want to see it. And then it was just like one word, can he use, which is Brian's word, ironically, yes. So I don't think they could have did any better than that, and I'm looking forward to next week. I wonder what kind of gear Brian shows up.
Next week, it's in 2 days.
Excuse me, 2 days. Very happy. What else we got on the show? We got the women's title match, Britt Baker against Ruby Soho for the women's world title. This is heated up in a heartbeat. There was a pretty well-received promo segment from Friday. They've been in some 6-woman tag. Ruby, of course, won the Casino Battle Royal. And I think they kind of they fell into something with her because every program has been, man, Britt's just getting cheered overwhelmingly, and then it's amazing what happens when you got a actual babyface people want to get behind, and I think that's I don't think it's going away because obviously people want to cheer for Britt, but the dynamics are a little bit better now with Ruby in this spot. So what do you think is going to happen here?
I think that Britt is going to win, probably with some help from Jamie and Rebel, and now because she does his Rebel, not Reba. Now I think it's Reba, but with help between those two goons, she'll retain the title, give Ruby some bail, and then she can build back. I think that we talked about the Britt thing, and she's over as a babyface, but what got her over was her heel work, so they're just keeping her as a heel. So she's like, she gets to do everything that got her loved. I think it hurts some of the other wrestlers that can't really talk for themselves that well due to character limits, or because of that's not their native language they speak. But bringing her in and getting her there, and bringing in Ruby and bringing her into face Britt, I think that's a really big thing for Britt, because in a big match, when everything's walk through and all that kind of stuff, she's a lot better than trying to improv some stuff on the fly seemingly. I like her big matches or pay-per-view matches or whatever you want to call them more than her TV matches. So aside from the freaking Thunder Rosa match, but that's a special circumstance. So I'm interested to see what they do. I'm interested to see how her and Ruby, whatever story they have to tell in the ring, and I'm just happy. I feel almost in a way that promo, even though I detested the stuff that they had Ruby say. I'm really not a fan of babyface slut shaming women. I'm just not. But I mean, this even goes back to when we were talking about it with Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey back in 2018. That's not the way. I think for me, it was successful. The crowd ate it up. So we'll go from there, and we'll see what leg she has after this and how she can build back towards it. Cause that's the real fun for Ruby. I'm interested to see her with Riho and Statlander.
Ruby talks about being a runaway and all that. Well, the Britt Baker runaway train title reign continues here. She's about to walk through Ruby and continue this, because if I had someone as hot as Britt Baker, I wouldn't be cutting this off in 4 months.
Yeah, especially when there's Thunder Rosa still at play. You got to get to that match first before you start talking about taking the belt off her for any reason. And even after that, unless somebody steps to the plate, I think Thunder Rosa could. I don't think there's really a reason to take her off the title unless it's to expand the division to where you can have your champion and you can have Britt doing something cool with someone else, like a Jamie Hayter or Thunder Rosa or Sheeta or Nyla again. You get my drift. Actually have a non-title feud or program built up for pay-per-views or whatever else. I think that's what Britt's role should be whenever she does come off the title. But I don't think the time is anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think this is going to be a big match, especially for Ruby, because this is a big match for career.
Think so? Because she ran it with Ronda before on Raw in the main event.
Okay. If it's not the biggest match of her career, it's the most important.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you there.
Yeah. Maybe I'm probably phrased it wrong, but yeah, this is the most important because, like, she's one of those people. Like, you watch NXT on Take, the one or two times she was on Take, or you'd be like, she's likable, she has something, she could wrestle, and, just was miscast in a weird role, and it didn't really work out that well at the beginning. And she got one shot, and it didn't really work out the way that you would hope, and it wasn't really much about her. So it was like, let's see some of these people when they get another shot, as opposed to, like, you make one mistake and you're fucking done, to an extent. So,
yeah, I'd encourage people to check out her interview with Jericho. She just sounds so happy now. Yeah, so I think that
I'll check it out.
I think that she's got something going with the theme song for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm interested to see, like, can she break out match wise? Because, like, the Jay Hater match, it wasn't all that, and so this is the time. Like, she's got to show the world. Yeah.
I mean, that's really just like this is the stage for her. She shows up, show up, and you look around and you're like, okay, now you have two. Now you're adding to the roster. Like, I think she's already there as far as the women's division. Like even if let's say this match tanks, I think she's still is somebody that needs to be at the top of that division. But if this works out in a certain way, you can kind of it changes her trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it raises her ceiling a lot more, or not a lot more, but more. So hope it works out.
So the next match, we got Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. The return of Cody. Obviously, we had the angle last week. Malachi Black makes his entrance and asks for everybody in the House of Black to rise. James, I would listen to your review with Imp, and you let everyone know that you rose the fuck up in your house. So that was pretty cool. James is rising the fuck up right now. For those of you guys that are live in the chat, he stood up, but he immediately spotted somebody that was not rising up, and it was Rosario Dawson, of all people, a woman that has been fine since he got game.
Yes.
So she has some association with Cody, I think, in the Go Big Show. She had a Nightmare Family jacket on, which I can just feel Floyd Johnson smiling all the way from Oklahoma. So Cody getting popcorn or something. I don't know why he was over there, but he runs down with a red clown suit on.
Look, that's unfair. That's unfair. Like, you could have said he was out here looking like Jalen Rose, or who also had a red. Was it Karl Malone, or was it Charles Barkley that had the red suit at the draft?
I don't remember. Maybe
Google
Hakeem Olajuwon, maybe.
I know Jalen Rose had a red suit, and I know one of them Hall of Fame first ballot power forwards had one. I just got to figure out which one it was, but yes, but yeah, like.
Yeah, man came out there in the clown suit.
You ain't have to call it. You ain't got to call it a clown suit.
You see, they were trying to illustrate hell, so Cody had the red on to go with the black that Aleister Black had on, or Malachi Black had on. So it was symbolism. It was symbolism. He was coming back from the dead. But they have a really good brawl. Crowd is a lot more positive on Cody than they had been. And we got the match next week. So what you got, man? Like, Malachi versus Cody.
They should have their full-fledged match that works off of what they've done, brawling each other in that match they had. And at the end, Malachi Black should win. Like, I'm sure they can still have an entertaining match and Cody wins, but what happens the next day if Cody wins? Like, Cody just goes back to being Cody in the mid card because he set himself up to be a mid carder. And then Malachi Black, like, loses steam, and then what?
I don't know, man. I think Cody could send a strong message if they have him lose this match. However, they tend to keep him strong in certain ways. Like, if you're not of a certain caliber, like, he'll at least go 50-50 with him. Like, he won't, like, Ogogo was, in retrospect, was never going to beat him. QT was never going to really beat him. But all the other, like, times he's lost to people, I figure, like, it's not this tragedy if he wins, like I feel like people are alluding to. But this is perhaps the most even more of an interesting finish than Omega and Danielson for me. Just seeing, like, where someone goes, like, because Cody could easily go back after the TNT title. I know Sammy Guevara's got his eyes on it, but Cody always is a threat for that. And, you know, he's making himself like this Cena-like person. So, and, you know, he loves wearing the flag and all this shit. So, they could easily tap into that. But I don't know. That feels boring, passe, old hat. I think Malachi's exciting. I think he's got a really exciting entrance that people are getting into. And he's just got a vibe and an aura about him that even he didn't have in NXT. I think he's at a career peak right now. I think he is. I know, like both of the champions are heels right now, so in theory, there's not really anywhere higher for Malachi Black to go. So I don't know. I think it can go either way. I'm not upset with either result, but I would think Malachi Black would be the more fan-pleasing result.
Yeah. And you said that the aura that he has is different from even NXT. You know what the aura is? He will fuck you up. He's a fucking like, he's literally like stalking prey and chasing it down and murdering it. It has been really fun. I think the thing for me is like, all right, you start booking out these pay-per-views or big shows eventually and how to put people into the mix. And it's like, all right, he loses to Cody here. I'm sure you can rebound from that, but like, why do you need to rebound? Like, Cody loses tomorrow, or Cody loses on Wednesday. Is anybody gonna look different than Cody? I don't think so. Like, and I just think personally, like, it makes more sense to give his first loss or whatever else, Malachi, to like a babyface that could use it, or a babyface that like, or on a big show at least. And obviously this is a big show, but it's like, he's only been here since like July.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you're saying like he could be like,
you can use him in like that, in like that Rusev mode from like, or like a gatekeeping heel. Like, he could be like, if you like have a feud,
first challenger for somebody, and then like he's never been beaten, so it's like, man, what's the new champion gonna do with this fucking guy?
That, or like, let's say, you know, I'm not saying this happened, but like, put out, man, when Adam Page comes back, put him with Malachi. You want to get him ready for Kenny Omega by next pay-per-view, or whatever you want to say. Put them together.
I think a lot of people just want to shoot Adam Page directly at Kenny Omega. So, like, I think that would upset a lot of people, but it would be the best thing for him.
Right. It'll be literally set on the path where, like, you know, he is having a top-of-the-card feud that doesn't involve the Elite. And it's on his own, and it's on his own, I don't say on his own because he's great, but I'm just saying, like, we get to see like what he has as far as his character, as far as what he has in his quote unquote soul, as in pro wrestling kayfabe speak. Like, there is not a lot that's been answered with that. It's still, even though like we know he can be a dependable friend when it's called upon, like with the with Dark Order, but like I don't know what kind of heart he has. I still to this day don't know what kind of heart he has. Is he a fucking shrinking violet that still is like drinking to cope with like failure and doesn't know how to get off his ass and fight for his stuff, or is he a person that like can only do that when like his friends coax him into doing it? Which is what happened when he in that match that he lost and got taken off TV. He was like, "Come on, Adam, time is to stop being depressed." He was like, "Okay, whatever." It's like that does not. Like when people talk about how he's emo, or whatever else, like I don't think of that as like an endearing trait necessarily. It's like you lost. A lot of people lose. They get off their ass and figure out another way.
Start training harder,
Train harder, sacrifice, change yourself. Like that is most character arcs in most movies for heroes. They get their ass kicked and then they go back to the lab, learn something, grow, and then achieve after that, or sacrifice something to then get what they wanted.
Why are
or learn something? Like, none of that happens with Adam Page.
Why are they acting like they've never seen Rocky 3?
Well, look, Rocky 3 has that, except for the part where like the story during the match when he's in the second match with Clubber Lang is like, all right, you gotta retrain for speed because. You were slow and you were just a goon, right? And then like, and then the match, what he does is like, he does rope-a-dope, which means like, bro, like you didn't train for getting a stronger jaw. You trained for speed. He knocked your ass out. Like, how did the rope-a-dope work this time? He would have not. Your jaw didn't get no better. You didn't work on that. You just got faster, and then like you beat him by not even using your speed. You beat him by enduring the punishment that you couldn't take in the first one. Whatever. Don't get me started on Rocky. But anyway, like I think that he needs one more thing to kind of get him to. Then you're like, undoubtedly, let's do it. With Kenny Omega. Take the fucking belt off and put it on Hangman. But like everybody's like, just do it now. It's like, nah, bro. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are here. What the fuck are you talking about?
Like there are money matches lined up, Chief. Like there's money to be made. There are matches to be had. Big ones.
Yeah. I think people have WWE brain or PTSD of like the main eventer, the WrestleMania part-timers, like take people's spots and then like becomes a game of musical chairs. People are afraid that like Adam Cole is gonna be left out in the cold and with a thin jacket in the Chicago winter. That ain't gonna happen to him. But in the meantime, in between time, just like everybody else in this roster that's not in the title picture, you got to come up with something compelling to do because you need to be on this card. So like, if you beat Cody here with Malachi Black, he can immediately be the number 2 or the semi-main event of a pay-per-view. Him and Malachi Black, Paige Malachi Black. So like, I just think that like the room for Malachi Black here, like he could be so much more valuable with the win here than if he loses here.
Mm-hmm. Diogo says, thinking about it, it'd be cool if this time they have a competitive match, but have Cody try to cheat and still fail to beat Malachi, leading to a Cody heel turn. I don't think Cody wants to turn heel, and for me, if you turn him heel, he goes higher up the card.
Evil.
It don't quite compute.
This man trying to drop roots on Cody. This man wishing for the worst. Don't turn heel. Don't get hot. I want you in the mid card.
Do what you're doing. Do what you want to do right now. You want to be beloved. You want to act like Cena. Go ahead.
Floyd gonna get you. I mean, Floyd, he said that, not me.
Look, he may go higher. He wouldn't go much higher, but he'd go higher. But what else we got on the show? We've got MJF. MJF, a man who's been just on a highlight reel level run coming out of All Out, taking on Brian Pillman Jr. And this has been heated up with a couple different segments, especially the one in Cincinnati. The New Jersey, beat down essentially that MJF did last week was great. And this is a big match for Pillman Jr. too. This is like something they obviously see a lot of potential in him. I think he's grown leaps and bounds just this calendar year. Last year, if you would ask me about Pillman, I would be like, I think he has a great kind of underdog everyman quality about him. He's not the most athletic guy. He's got a lot of scrappiness and heart working for him, right? A lot of deceptive speed and
so he's white. So he's white.
So
are you talking about a professional wrestler or a white wide receiver in the NFL?
I think a lot of the audience can see themselves in him.
Is he like a coach in the ring?
He's like a coach in the ring. He's a coach's son, a famous wrestler's son. It all kind of, ties in together right there. But in a story as old as time,
real quick, that man he said he's college educated and he cleans up, but don't mistake it. He may clean up nice, but he is still a Cincinnati boy. And I thought to myself, you have a mullet. You have not cleaned up nice. What are you talking about? But go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
Yeah, MJF and Pillman, a story as old as time. A man from a privileged background versus someone that is quote unquote come up through the muck.
Boxing.
Yeah. So this should be pretty good. I think MJF's going to come to work because he realizes there's no made star. I am the made star now. So this is going to be my turn to really bust my ass and show that I'm not someone that to be forgotten either. With all these people, this could be easily heating him up for a Bryan Danielson or a CM Punk down the road or shortly down the road. And I think the world of MJF. I think he's a prodigy. I think he is. He's next. Quite frankly, he's another person that's on that list. That he next. He on deck. On life. And I think this is a good showcase match for him. I think he wins. What do you think, James?
Yeah, he has to win. This is mostly to get his heat back after, finally dropping one to Jericho after a fourth try. Imp mentioned this, and I agree. Last week when I did his show about he is tearing into these local crowds in Cincinnati and in New Jersey to get his heat back after losing to Jericho. And I'm like, yeah, and it's worked, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm he has to win. There's a reason why they did the Jericho thing. Did the Pillman thing in Cincinnati. It was find a role for Brian Pillman as a babyface that you like, but when it comes down to it, you might like him, but not all the babyfaces are going to be
levels below.
Yeah, but they're not every babyface you can believe in is going to come through, which makes you then appreciate the ones that do eventually. Mm-hmm. So that's Dante Martin, Brian Pillman, they're in that role right now, being babyface that you like, and they come on the card or they come on the show, and you're happy to see them, but they're going to eat a lot. They're going to eat pins. It happens. That is the role of professional wrestling. Not everybody can win, not everybody can lose. There are people you like and people you hate, and some are going to win, some are going to lose, and some are going to win more and should win more than others. And, eventually, over time, things will change. People will level up, people will level down, but it's professional wrestling as opposed to just a gigantic mishmash of you don't know what's going to happen from week to week, and it won't make sense from week to week at all.
There was a interview recently where Tony Khan was talking about how high he was on Dante Martin, and he said he thinks he's going to get his breakthrough win sometime soon. The AEW Full Gear location was revealed; it was going to be in Minneapolis, so that's actually Dante Martin's hometown. So that's something to keep an eye on if that goes forward. But last match on here is Darby Allin and Sting be taking on FTR. Darby Allin and Shawn Spears had a solid match. Once again, Shawn Spears, wrestles Guevara, and he wrestles Darby Allin, and it comes out, it comes out better than you think. I think that Darby, in getting into this, obviously this is they heated this up in a flash, in an instant, kind of to get Sting on there with Darby. Needed a spot. I don't think you can do the show without Darby Allin on it. I think this should be a blast. FTR is going to have a blast bumping for Sting.
That's understatement.
I would have thought that this might have been the place for Ric Flair up until last Friday to eventually appear, but that's not the case. I've got Darby and Sting, of course, because why have FTR win right now? I mean, unless you're going to set them up for Lucha Brothers sometime soon, I don't think this necessarily would play into the tag team rankings. This is kind of like your all-star collection match, and it would be really cool for Sting to be in front of that many people. Been a long time.
Yeah. I would have Sting and Darby win. Obviously Sting or Darby has to win with coffin drop. But if they wanted to, they could then get some more heat on Sting like they did last week, which is I thought was cool because it's the first time in a long time that anyone got heat on Sting.
They rubbed the paint off them boys. That's a declaration of war.
Right. I thought it was a very nice touch. Ultimately, like if they beat if you wanted to, you could have FTR win here, so then they have a rematch, and then like Sting and Darby win there. But if you that depends on how you want to handle your television going the next few weeks or whatever else, but or a month or whatever out or whatever. But either way, like the main thing is the main thing. Like you said, like get Darby on the card, and I think it'll be fun either way.
Yeah, but that's your Wednesday show. Friday, of course, they have CM Punk and Will Hobbs announced. I think that's going to be an interesting match. I don't know bell to bell wise, work rate wise, how that one's going to do, but it is CM Punk's first match on television back in 7 years. I think it's probably going to draw a great rating. Also, I think Dynamite's Grand Slam is going to smoke Raw in a pack this week. As far as the Hobbs and Punk thing, this is a big spot for Will Hobbs, biggest match of his life. How do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to do well. I think that if they lean into what Christian and Hobbs did, it's not necessarily the same exact story, but like a similar thing of like he's dominant, he's big, he's powerful, he's strong, and CM Punk has to figure out a way how to overcome that, and eventually and then win and overcome it at the end, and tell a nice story in like 8 minutes or so, something like that. Then like perfect. That's a perfect story for it. I don't need them going 13, 14, 15 minutes though.
Yeah. CM Punk's always been good against big guys. I remember matches that he's had against, obviously, Brock Lesnar.
Ryback.
Like, the Ryback. Also...
The Ryback matches were good.
Also, Mark Henry on TV a couple times.
Undertaker. He's a big man. That counts.
Undertaker, yep. So, if anyone can figure it out, it's him. I hope Punk has like figured his gear situation out to another degree. He needs to break out some new shit in the pants. I don't know. They're all right, but I don't know.
Okay. So a couple people we know, or we had a discussion talking about like maybe he didn't have his legs underneath him. Maybe the legs were scrawny, so he's hiding them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he was necessarily like that picture you sent me of Jerry Lawler from the other day where like it looks like that man looks like, an egg with straws holding him up. But maybe over time he'll bring those back out once he feels more confident in his legs. Or maybe he has some tattoos. He's like, I don't know about this. We'll see.
Yeah, man. So also we've got Jon Moxley and Minoru Suzuki will be taking on Lance Archer, or excuse me.
I knew what you meant.
Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki will be taking on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston in a lights out match.
It's a lights out match?
Yes.
When did that get added?
On Rampage.
No. Like, when did that stipulation get added? I don't remember that at first.
They said that on Rampage.
Oh, okay. So, I guess I just must have missed that part. I only saw the announcement for the match. I didn't know it was a step. That should be a blast.
Yep.
Should be a blast.
That should be really good.
What I'm concerned on is I don't know how their camera crew and their camera director is going to be able to direct traffic because, like, they didn't do a good job when they were brawling at the end of Dynamite. So, or not at the end of Rampage. So, hopefully they'll get some things in order. Hopefully, Archer and Nakazawa and Suzuki and Moxley and Kingston can all like sit down and say, this is where we're going, and like, give them an idea. If they say do it on the fly, it could be a problem with camera direction. So hopefully they'll get that shit figured out though, because like those four together going all sorts of parts in that building, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, if it's me, I'm getting as many different unique shots of the building as possible in this match,
and this helps them to do so.
And I think that this is gonna rule. This is gonna be like Suzuki's gonna be in New York. Eddie Kingston is coming home in New York. He's gonna be over like who knows. And this is a clever way to beat somebody without accounting really. So it being a lights out match. So we've got the Super Click. The Young Bucks and Adam Cole will be taking on Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. Like you mentioned earlier, Christian decided to come in with the flamethrowers, talking about Adam Cole. After Cole laid the challenge down, Cole obviously had his debut against Frankie Kazarian. Solid match there. Big reaction for Adam Cole. There's a part in BTE where they catch Cole right at the go position before he goes out, and he turns around like, y'all hear this shit? Like y'all hear that pop? And I think that was really cool to see him, how happy he was. New ring gear looks great. New jacket.
Well, he should have known he was going to be over in the tri-state area. How many takeovers has he been in Brooklyn where he was fucking popular as hell? Like, he shouldn't be surprised.
There is a list of most over guys I've ever seen in person in my life, right? Mm-hmm. Adam Cole is on that list, like in NAC TakeOver Brooklyn,
or New York. It shouldn't have called Brooklyn 5. They called it New York Day Year, whatever the fuck.
New York, Adam Cole, is on that list of most over people I've ever seen in my life.
That lets you know how great that match was, where he's that over. And then they wrestle that match by the end. Everyone's fucking ecstatic for Johnny Gargano in that match.
Yeah, it was crazy in the upper sections. I sat on the last row of the Barclays Center. Very unique kind of view of it, but I could see the whole crowd just going fucking apeshit the whole time. But this should be awesome. This is gonna be a lightning fast 6-man tag. Bucks and Cole haven't teamed together for a long time. He slides in just as most great wrestlers should, teaming with the Bucks. This is a reformation of their group, so we're going to see a lot of super kicks here, a lot of, I would say, flashy stuff, and I would say be on the lookout for this trio possibly to kick off a trios title or something eventually. It's a nice little spot to put Adam Cole in while you still have other stuff going on at the top, and you don't want to exactly beat him, but you can have the Bucks move over there as well, because obviously you don't want, there's nothing, you're not going back to the Bucks with the Lucha Brothers with belts or anything. So slide them over to the trios, have them running these 6-mans out there, and I think that's a great spot for them. So
I saw the double entendre you did, and boy, you a genius. You said a nice little spot for him in the trios division, if there is a trios title for a Super Click, and you said for Adam Cole, that's a nice little spot. Boy, you a genius. It's condescending by saying it's a nice little spot, and also that man hate being called little. You evil, you a diabolical genius, boy. You really do be rapping, boy. That was a real bar.
I'm just using the logic. So
no, I get it. I agree 100% with you. But I'm not gonna I ain't gonna let you slide on that. You call that man small.
Miro, Kenny, both heels got it locked up. No really place for him to go. So best thing they can do is those trios rumors always heating up. So and I think this is the first tip-off that the Bucks and Cole are going to be the first trio champions. You heard it here first on One Nation Radio.
Well, I don't really care who the trio champions are. The first ones are. I just need the division here because, look at all them fucking factions they have. That pays off all of that. Mm-hmm. Or not pays it off, but it keeps it interesting. AEW, once the Young Bucks became the champ, it turned heel anyway. like the tag division is kind of stagnated a little bit. As far as having a secondary thing that you care about in that tag division, like getting the Young Bucks to the trios, like it gives them more options to then implement Lucha Bros in the Young Bucks / Cole. So yeah.
So Christian Cage and Jurassic Express are teaming up here. I feel like there's something going on with Jungle Boy and Christian.
Think so?
This goes as far back as like him putting Christian on his shoulders, or Luchasaurus putting Christian on his shoulders, and Jungle Boy shooting him that look.
I don't remember this at all. I must have missed this.
Yeah, this was like that Friday. This was like the week after Jungle Boy had his match with Kenny. They had this week, Jungle Boy was actually speaking into the microphone, and Christian's cutting him off. There's just little things I'm noticing. So like, I wouldn't be shocked if like, you know, it pops off one day with those two. So
Jungle Boy's turning heel on Christian?
Nah, I would think Christian would be turning.
Okay, so Jungle Boy is jealous of Christian being held up by his bigger friend, and then Jungle Boy gets upset because Christian cut him off because Jungle Boy don't talk almost ever. And
well, he was talking.
The problem was he was winding down. So, like, if you add those two things up, in real life, you would say the person that you would say was going to turn heel because they're upset over anything would be Jungle Boy. And I don't. We'll see how this plays out, obviously. But like, I don't know. Maybe those are small breadcrumbs that are leading to something. But like, we got to start seeing more if that's actually where they're going to go. And I wouldn't break them up necessarily just yet.
Yeah, maybe not yet, but like, just keep your eyes open. Then we've got.
They want to be like, you're not my fucking dad. It's like, thanks.
Yeah, like, I don't need you.
Really nuanced storytelling. Like it's daddy issues again. Thanks.
Man, that would actually work with him too, because his dad.
Stop! Don't you finna put it? Don't put that shit into existence. That would really work. Stop! I don't want to see that shit. You know, my dad. I'm trying to show you the ropes. I don't care what your ropes. I don't want someone's ropes. I want Edge's ropes. Like I don't want your advice. Like no, man, I don't want that. I don't want that.
We got Deanna J and Penelope Ford. I don't know. This is continuing the Bunnies beef with Anna J. It's a list match, but yeah, I ain't really got too much more for you on this one. I think Jim Ross will be happy in this match.
I don't have anything for you. Match like you said it's the Bunny, right?
No, it's Anna J and Penelope.
Oh, Anna J and Penelope. I mean, Penelope's better than the Bunny, so like it could be all right. It could be all right. We'll see.
We've got an 8-man tag. So at the end of we had a match last week with the Butcher and the Blade challenging the Lucha Bros for the titles. Very creative finish where Pentagon ditches his own mask after he was tied up in it, and ditches the mask, keeps his face covered. An elite lucha skill he showed right there to basically save the match and get the win for those guys. The Private Party obviously ran in, whooped that ass a little bit, and then Santana and Ortiz coming to the Lucha Brothers' aid. And to me, this was a flashing light that Lucha Bros, Santana and Ortiz feud is coming, but there's going to be some mutual respect, and then something's about to happen. But we've got an 8-man tag, Lucha Brothers and Santana Ortiz against Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. If it's me, I'm letting them do a bunch of moves and go crazy and letting Butcher and Blade catch everybody.
Yeah, I think it's important to get Santana Ortiz on this card. So, they're going to go nuts. It's going to be fun. Like, it means Pentagon and Phoenix and Santana and Ortiz together. Jesus Christ. Like, Private Party, you know how we always say that, like, or a lot of people say that, like, once someone goes to WWE or goes to the main roster, they go into retirement. Like, I almost feel like they've been put into retirement by HFO. But, like, if anybody can get them out for one night, it will be those four. So, It'll be fun.
And look, they coming home too. So
yeah.
So, and then the other match we got, the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky with Dan Lambert will be taking on Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. Is there a turn alert here?
I never thought about it, but it could be for Hager, and then because Hager's not a strong talker, and instead of him being with Jericho, now he's with Dan Lambert.
MMA undefeated.
Yes, but is he a part? He's not in Top Team, is it? Top Team America Top Team, is he?
Nah.
Okay, but just for kayfabe, he could be.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but like, I think the more likely thing is like you get Jericho with a big MMA guy versus Men of the Year who are surrounded by MMA guys, and it's all tied in with MMA guys and whatever else, and they can win. I mean, maybe that would be a big angle to top it off. But like, do you want to see Jericho versus Hager? When and as like,
no.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that too much myself. But.
I just got my antennas up, like all this MMA stuff, like, especially like with the Inner Circle, like kind of being like, more spun off into kind of their own things. Like Sammy's lurking around the TNT title. Mm-hmm. Jericho and Hager, like they could like splinter someone off. It's a perfect time to, but I think. I feel like Men of the Year like should probably get the win here, and they should beat Hager. I wouldn't cut off their juice; like they're just starting to get some, especially with Lambert. What did you think of the segment that they did?
Oh, I loved it, and like I know you don't like Lambert. I love fucking Lambert. Like he just comes up.
I like Lambert, but like I just hate the like the talking points I don't like, but. But his delivery is like flawless, and he should be a best promo candidate for One Nation Radio, in my opinion. Like that's how highly I think. Like I love him coming out here, and obviously like everyone that's watching AEW, they don't give. If you're watching AEW, and you're a professional wrestling fan, is like a longtime wrestling fan. Like you don't give a flying fuck about like guys being skinny wimps or not. But like the part where like it is kind of like when Cornette talked about the old Ring of Honor CZW feud about like we're going to talk down to you and it's going to annoy you because you know like that exists and like you're going to feel it's going to irk you, right? And like him talking about like AEW is where they have fake fucking wrestlers that do choreography and they don't lift weight and like take get a clue, hit the showers or lift some weights, take a shower. Like when he keeps hitting on that, like for me, like I enjoy it because it's like I like AEW. I don't give a fuck what any of these wrestlers really look like. But like I know it's gonna bother some of these people that love Darby, love Orange Cassidy, love Sammy Guevara, love Jungle Boy, and they're all look like they're prepubescent, kinda, and like people are gonna take that to heart and be like, man, fuck you. I'm tired of hearing that shit. For me, it's like I enjoy it. It's gonna annoy some people, like because it's like ultimately. He's gonna end up eating a lot of shit over the next how long he does it when he goes up against these guys are gonna keep kicking his ass in. And like I think that's a nice role to have. Yep.
Because he can lose forever and keeps on the same, not necessarily the same point, but like keep on this and like for some reason they don't really trust or maybe they're just adding to it, supplementing Scorpio Sky's talking because I like Page's talking. I think he's a good talker, but it doesn't hurt to add this.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are the matches. I'm ready.
It's gonna be fun.
Fucking ready. Like hook it to the veins, strap it up, send it in. Let's go. It's a big week, and they about to draw some numbers.
Okay, so how is do we know how the taping process for this is going to work? Like. Are they going to do?
Oh, it's a 4-hour show on Wednesday live in person.
Right. But I guess what I'm asking is, I'm asking is the show starting at 6 or is it starting at 8?
Show's going to start at 8.
Okay, so they're going to actually run the Rampage stuff after they're done with Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega. That's kind of where I was asking because it's like, yeah, all right, if that's what they want to do, like if it were me, I would basically treat that stuff like pre-card stuff I would treat Rampage almost like pre-card stuff, and then air it before, like, because I think these I think they were now at like 3 shows in a row for Rampage, where like they're obviously taping after they go off air on Dynamite, and it feels like the crowd just like is done, or not done, but like they're not as hot as they were when I was watching them. I was watching this same venue or the same show more or less like before. Like it's like once they hit 10 and everyone knew it was 10, like that 10 to 12 like they or 10 to 11 like they weren't as hot. So that's my concern. Like they gotta either record more stuff. Either they need to start doing solo shows for Rampage, or they need to like figure out how to record like that hour beforehand to keep the crowd interested the whole time. But maybe you do that and you fuck around and you have an empty crowd, or so who knows how they're doing it. But I think like the crowds are just like night and day almost on some of them shows.
So I think there's something you could do. Like you could
add audio to it.
I mean, there's that. I wasn't gonna say that, but like they've got 6 matches scheduled for Rampage, right? The only thing is, I don't know which one I would put on after. Like you could do Paige and Sky and Jericho and Hager before Dynamite, NJ before Dynamite, Lucha Bros and Santana and Ortiz before Dynamite, and then do Super Click, CM Punk, John Moxley after. It's 3 matches. You could do that.
Yeah. But then again, like
you got to swap the aprons.
I want to know who the person is. Tony Khan got to send to go tell Jericho he has to work. He has to work like before they start taping. Like it's 7. Like Jericho be like, nah, I'm going home, bro. I ain't doing this. How fucking dare you? This company wouldn't have been started if not for me. Like Jericho got to be somebody be like. Obviously, Jericho's not as bad as everybody else, but like just based on generational thing, just naturally, it means he is like the worst and the crankiest. So like, I imagine like some of the dudes backstage like, you got to tell this Jericho, and he's like, "Fuck, all right." Like, not because he's terrible, because like compared to everybody else back there, he is the worst, just relatively speaking.
Yeah, but that's a preview right there, man.
Yeah.
I caught. Now, James, I'm going to ask you to remove your headphones.
Just wave when you're done.
Yep. So the G1 first day was last Saturday. I did not see anything else, but I did see the first day, and I got to say, it was not that bad. It was entertaining at a lot of different points. I've enjoyed the Yano match, which is a rarity because I'm largely done with this comedy. However, the main event fucking ruled. It was Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi, another in their storied history and their rivalry. I thought Ishii was incredible. Shingo was incredible. I thought there was a late match pumping bomber where I just felt like he fucking killed Ishii. I turned my head to the side and I damn near close my eyes, thinking about how much that hurt Ishii. And I know James often talks about Jungle Kiona and being great in defeat, and I'm like, man, I don't know if anybody's better in defeat than Tomohiro Ishii. I'm somewhere. I feel like I'm 5 stars on the match. It was just another shining example of how great Ishii is, and they'll never fucking go with him, but I will never quit the agenda. Even if Tomohiro Ishii never wins, this is a big statement for Shingo. Zack Sabre Jr. and Tetsuya Naito had an awesome match. Probably one of my favorite matches those two have ever had. I think that Naito was a lot more of a fighter in this match, which I really enjoyed. He ended up submitting to Sabre, which was really cool. And Sabre's kind of rededicated himself in the gym and, added to his frame. And this was the best technical match for sure on the show. Kenta and Yano, lots of comedy on both sides. They basically were trying to they had a creative finish where Yano or was put under the ring by Kenta and then rolled out on the other side, came up with the low blow, ended up getting the win, shocking Kenta. They also had Tangaloa against the Great Okan. Tangaloa kind of popped me a little bit when he was saying the Great Who. This wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really great either. It was okay. And obviously the shock of the first round, Yujiro Takahashi, yes, the Tokyo Pimp, defeated Kota Ibushi. And I was kind of shocked. Obviously the Ibushi won the G1 the last 2 years, and immediately they're letting you know that this is not going to be a walk in the park. Obviously he lost a couple matches last year early, but I feel like it's a different message being shown. I think Yujiro is obviously going to be taking a lot of pins. They had to find something for him somewhere, but this was okay. Yujiro has a million wacky finishers, and then one of them just worked, and the crowd audibly gasped. Forgot the rules of the clap crowds, but I think Ibushi tried to make this really great. I think you never really believed he was getting beaten until he actually got beat, but some of those near falls were pretty good, I'd say. And it was good to see Peter as well. I hear day 2 went awesome. There's a great Okada Tanahashi match waiting for me. There's going to be more New Japan coverage, obviously, on Keeping It Strong Style. Definitely check out, that show. But I'm going to keep trying to just barrel through as much of the G1 as possible. I was very negative on the G1 going into it in the preview. I was laughing at some of the blocks, but if they're going to wrestle like this, I think that's, I don't think it's to the quality of your normal G1, but it's more than acceptable, more than enjoyable. Great way to pass the time if you're watching the G1 events. But, yeah, that's going to wrap it up. And,
Yo.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up. I guess there's only one thing left to do, James. So I'm just going to tell you to hit the music.
Okay, so yeah, man, they threw a lot of shows at your boy. So they last show we left off at for the Grand Prix was the 9-6 show, the Korakuen Hall show that the main evented with Takumi and Tam. So I was behind, so I ended up catching up on. Actually, I wasn't behind. They dropped those weekends shows for the September 11th, September 12th. I watched those, and they also had another Korakuen Hall last, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday, can't remember. And I watched that. The homie Sonny is on his job right now. They had a Korakuen Hall Monday, today, so at midnight, and it's already up in its entirety. So I have not watched this weekend's 2 shows, the show from Saturday and the show from Monday. What we will do is when we do the midweek show to basically update you or give you the preview for Extreme Rules and the Stardom Grand Prix, we will go through the final 3 shows of the Grand Prix leading into the final 3 shows before the final. So that'll be Saturday's show, Monday's show, and I think it's Thursday's show or whatever else, because it'll all be up and I'll go through it and then we'll get to that. But now we're just talking about the September 11th, September 12th, and the September 16th shows. So, Rich, what matches did you end up catching?
So I watched at least 4 of them. I caught Azumi and Utami, Takumi and Kamatani, Azumi and Shuri and Tam, and hold on. Nope, only 3 of them. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, I wish he had watched all 3 of them Azumi matches. Jesus Christ. She's fucking unbelievable. But, yeah, so September 11th show, I'm going to give you the rundown of the undercard stuff. I had wrote up a thing for the September 11th show, and like I had wrote down full breakdowns and whatever else. Like we're going to skim through this, get through this fast. It's end up being 3 shows. So on the undercard, you end up having Natsupoi. You end up having Natsupoi versus Rina. And it was okay. It was actually pretty good for a 16-year-old versus someone like Natsupoi, who's 7 inches shorter than Rina. But ultimately at the end, Natsupoi ended up winning. Then you had Kaguma versus Lady C, which was funny to me because Lady C is 5'10" and like Kaguma is short, and like their record is match, and Lady C is trucking her at times, and they're doing a monster match because Lady C Kaguma is bigger even though she's short. So they're like having like shoulder tackles and stuff, and they're no selling and growling at each other and shit. And it's funny. But at the end, Lady C kind of has her on the ropes, gets a choke slam, gets the near fall, gets Kaguma up and goes to put her on the top. Center on the top rope to get a elevated choke slam. Kaguma beats her down and then hits a sunset flip and then rolls her through and then does a schoolboy where she bridges her body over the top of Lady C's legs, and she's trapped. She can't fucking move, so she ends up getting the win. And then after she does it, she sits there and she finds where the camera guy is while she's still bridging, looks directly into the camera, and then does the fucking bear ears pose, upside down, bridging on her head. I fucking howled. Lady C is full stunt mode. I love to see it. Then the next match ended up being Tam versus Waka. Waka. I'll pause for the future so you can do that every time. So, it was funny because, on Twitter, they were talking to each other, and you gotta get the impression that Waka was inspired to come to Stardom, because of Tam.
What do you mean? Waka was inspired by Gucci.
So, you can make this segment of the show go as long as you want it to. It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to handle this. So anyway, they were saying some nice things to each other about like how happy they were to wrestle each other. And then Tam posts a side-by-side picture of both of them. Is Waka's ring gear in her ring gear, and then it's Tam from like when she debuted in Stardom and her original ring gear in Stardom, and she like points at the similarities, right? So the match ends up starting, and like Waka comes out to shake Tam's hand, and she gets down on one knee, right? And Tam is like so flattered, and like she takes a knee too to kind of like, I'm so happy you did this or whatever. So Tam immediately whoops her ass, body slams her a few times, kicks her across the back, and then puts her in the camera clutch to work over her back. So then I wrote this out because I was fucking howling. So then the story is, because I got this translated because of the gag, I was like, what made this crowd pop this way? Tam, while she's in a camel clutch, ask Waka, who do you love? Who inspires you? Who do you want to be with? Because obviously, like, the last rookie just came in and immediately asked to be in Cosmic Angel. She's like, do you too want to get down with the gang? Do you too want to be part of this money machine? So, Waka goes, Ko, she says Ko, and then Tam cuts off immediately. Or she says Ka, she says Cosmic Angels, and she starts looking around nervous. She goes, Konami-san! The crowd pops big. Tam looks shot, and then she yanks back on the fucking thing, and she beats her ass, and then at the end she wins. I thought it was funny as hell. And then at the end she, like Tam, said some nice things to her in the ring, obviously, and then like Waka's like on her knees, bowing to her like she's a god. But it was funny for me. But so then, the next match was Shuri versus Mai. Man, Shuri beat the living shit out of this woman. Like, I wrote in my notes, it looked like Shuri was trying to kick her ribs and head through the floorboards with stomps. Like,
damn.
Yeah, like, I sent you a clip of her kicking her. You can hear the crowd, you can hear like the thuds, and then you can hear the crowd, the clap crowd, you can hear them audibly gasp after every single time she hit her with the kicks to the back. But she ended up, she carried her, but like, she took her like 8.5 minutes and whooped her ass the whole time, and like, goddamn, like, and then at the end, like, she, patted her on the head like a dog, like, good job. And I was like, gotta tell you something right now, Shuri, and this real talk, I wrote this in my notes. if you whoop a dog like that over here, your ass is going to Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. We've seen it. So I don't know how they treat dogs over there, but boy, you treat a dog like that, your ass going up. So so then we finally get to the 5-star portion of the show. It's Fukigen. It's Death versus Mayu. Man, this match here.
I wanted to watch it. I didn't get a chance to.
Okay, so after they do the spot, they do the spot with the Death in the corner. Death convinces the ref to do it and then run into Mayu. There's a whole big thing at the end. Mayu ends up drop kicking the ref Barb. The ref's name is Barb into the corner. So then so he's out of the picture. So then Rena slides in the newspaper, bops Mayu over the head with the newspaper a few times, puts her in a camel clutch, and then tries to choke her with the newspaper. Mayu eventually gets out. Then there's more cheating that happens. And then Rena slides in a chair. Death gets the chair. Mayu stops the chair from, and they start tussling over the chair. Barb tries to pull the chair away, and then in the tussle, he ends up getting sent flying through the ropes. So Death gets the chair, tries to hit Mayu. Mayu keeps ducking because Death has the aim of a stormtrooper, and then as this keeps happening, Mayu keeps backing up towards the ropes. So Death reaches all the way back, goes to swing it. Mayu ducks. It bounces off of the top off the top rope, and then ricochets right into Death's face. So Death does this gigantic spin around to her before she falls, and before she falls, the chair ends up in Mayu's hands, and by that point in time, the fucking ref Barb gets back to the ring, looks at her down, sees Mayu holding the chair, and fucking DQs Mayu. So that's the point, gets a fucking dub on some bullshit. I was like, I can't believe this fucking match. Yeah, it went like 4 minutes. So then we get to Utami versus Azumi. This match went 8 minutes and 50 seconds. I wrote 600 plus words on this match. This match was fucking awesome. I'm going to read the first paragraph, then I'll give you the gist of this match. The match started with the debut of High Speed Utami, LOL. By the end of the opening exchange of rope running, slips, slides, cradles, dodges, and ducks, Azumi stands over Utami, who's hanging across the bottom rope, to let her know, you can't fuck with me with this high speed shit. You're embarrassing yourself. Now stop it and get up. And Utami smiles because she knows Azumi is absolutely right. So, man, this match was a fucking blast. They ended up on the outside after doing a bunch of dodges and dives. Utami goes to give a vertical suplex to Azumi. Azumi stops it and then gives her own on the mat to Utami. Utami's selling from there. Azumi starts working over the arm. So then there's a spot where Azumi goes off the ropes and goes for a Hurricanrana, and Utami stops her momentum from going up, flips her around into elevated German suplex position, and then German suplex and throws her 6 feet in the fucking air, and Azumi lands on her head, neck, and shoulders, and I shout in horror, and I'm like, oh my god, this was, what the fuck is this woman dead? I don't even know. There's another sequence of action where there's a gigantic double foot stomp for a near fall, and by that point, that's when after Utami kicks out, that's when you hear the 5-minute call. And I'm like, this has been 5 minutes? I couldn't fucking believe it. Utami goes for another elevated German suplex. Azumi gets out of it by literally doing a Cazadora out of it, and then arm dragging Utami through, and then Azumi takes her head off with a buzzsaw kick. And then the finish basically came off of, Utami ends up, I forgot what she lands, but basically she ends up hurting Azumi's back, racks her, torture rack, pulls her down back into that German suplex position, and then German suplex bridge pins her, and I was like, god damn, this didn't even go 9 minutes, 4 stars. This match was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I really liked seeing obviously Azumi in there with the world champion. I thought that was a cool glimpse of the future, a future red belt champion down the road. I could see in Azumi. That opening part, I was aware of what you had wrote about it before I watched it, and then I kind of watched that with that in mind, and thinking about that caption would be absolutely hilarious with the cussing. You can't see Azumi say, "You can't fuck with me." But yeah, I agree with what you said. So much talent, like as far as like how like experienced both of these wrestlers are. Can't ask for more. Like the best developmental system. Like this ain't NXT 2.0. Like with Von Wagner. This is not Von Wagner here. So I hope they get to do it again in the future.
See, now last year they had a match because they were in the same block. Last year's Grand Prix, and like I was disappointed because it was a 12-minute, 3.5-star match. I was like, that was one of those matches where you see it on the lineups when you get the card, the blocks. And you're like, I can't wait to see those two get on. And their match was very good, but I was expecting kind of this match. Mm-hmm. But like they were like, we got something for you, James. We're gonna have a way better match in like 8-9 minutes. Like it was incredible. Like if this match had went 15 minutes, it's a 4.5-star match easy. Like it was incredible. Probably higher, maybe even higher. Like it was incredible. But yeah. So next match after that is Takumi versus Saya. This is probably the best use of Saya. Saya's probably best used in sprint type matches. In this Grand Prix earlier with Tam and with Azumi, in a couple show that we're going to talk about this later, like this was the showcase of like she is better when she doesn't have to really worry about storytelling, and she doesn't have to focus on her selling that can be ridiculous at times and over the top or way too over the top. Like she was in there with Takumi, and basically the whole story was like Hurricanranas versus power bombs, and there were lots of them to be had in this match. I thought the finish of this match absolutely sucked, but before that finish, they were cooking. I really enjoyed this match. I think the finish really hurt it. But if they ever want to do this again, I'm down. Like, if you can just have basically a video game wrestling Kamatani at wrestling these matches, you got something. I think that's her biggest strength right now. I believe.
Yeah, I like this match. The finish was what it was. I figure like that's just a way of them making points work. It was a certain way, but
it was also ridiculous how they were fighting out there. Like, okay, Takumi gets Kamatani up and is going to running through powerbomb her on the ballroom floor or the hotel ballroom floor. Like, come on! And then
I've decided to call it a running.
And then Kamatani turns it into a Hurricane Rana, which moves them further away from the ring, and then they're brawling. They're pretending they don't hear the count until they gets to 18, and then they try to sprint. And as they sprint, each of them are trying to stop one from getting into the ring for the other, and then both can count. I was like, fuck off. I hated that with a passion.
Yeah, it was like, it was funny. They did the double count out. It was like, man, we done gave y'all too many draws, so we gotta do it a different way,
it beats a time limit draw of 20 minutes. You get done in like 15 or so, or 13.
I'm now calling the running 3 the running Iverson now.
Why?
By the way, the 3, I'm like, the running Iverson.
So like, and don't get me wrong, like this match
it was really good.
Yes, this match is this match challenges for 4 stars. I wouldn't give it 4 stars, but like if someone were to say, I gave it 4 stars, I'd be like, oh, okay. But
lots of hard kicking, lots of tassels flying everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a tassel all-star match right here.
It was. I didn't think about that, but you're right.
And I feel like this is like your match that Saya Kamatani gets better from. It's not just her running through the motions. I think it's like,
Takumi's a bad motherfucker. So like you gonna have to like, and she's not about to come out here and be all pretty with it. To say the least, like she gonna kick you in your fucking chest and chop you, and you gonna have to stand in there and see if you bought that life. And I think Saya was. Yeah,
like I don't know if you did, but I would suggest that you go back and watch night one, her versus Shuri. I think you'd love that match.
Shuri versus
Kamatani.
I watched that.
Okay, like that might be my favorite singles Kamatani match. But yeah, so then the main event in this show, Himeka versus Momo. When I first saw this main event, I was like, why? But this match was damn good. Like, not damn good, like great. Like, I gave it 4 stars. This is the best Himeka singles match I've ever seen. Her and Momo basically like. It's basically kicks and feet versus fists and forearms and lariats, and they played off of it so well. There's parts where they're ducking underneath kicks and lariats, and then one setting up for a move, and the other one blocks it with like Himeka block a kick with that gigantic swinging block that Ishii does, whatever else with the forearm. Mm-hmm. Then later, like, there's a part where, like, Himeka gets desperate and she goes to try to to counter at last second, tries to take off Momo's head, who's charging at her with a forearm, and Momo sees it and hits a running kick right into that arm and takes her arm off, and, like, holding on, fighting with power bombs, and, like, there's one spot where, like, Himeka hoists up Momo to try to finish the match and lifts her up high for like a last ride power bomb, and Momo escapes and then drops it like with the fucking Meteora on top of her for a deep Rana cradle, like, and it was really fun. Like I mean, it was the best. It's the best I've ever seen Himeka perform in the ring, and like they both. I mean, they told a story like they both were working over each other's backs. Throughout the match before they started just like hitting before the bomb started flying. Like, it was a really fun match. I ended up going, I may have even gone 4 1/4. I'm not sure, but I at least went 4. It went 16 minutes. It was bell to bell. Like, the action wasn't as like ridiculously hot as Takumi in Kamatani or the Azumi Utami match, but like it told a better story. It flowed. It was no abrupt weird finish or whatever else, and it had like a decisive winner. Like I enjoyed that. If you like American professional wrestling more, like this fits here. This more fitting. Like the other ones were just more or less like video, like just sprints. The NFL blitz of professional wrestling. So the next show after that was the September 12th show. And I have to go back to look at to grab the lineup for that so I can give you the rundown for that. So, the undercard, I'm going to blast right through real quick. Utami ends up beating up Lady C after carrying her for a little bit. The match was actually decent. Mina versus Waka, this match was a mess. But Mina ended up winning at the end. And then Natsupoi versus Mai Sakurai. Natsupoi hates Tam. This is Tam's new young girl. Mai goes for the double handshake for the match. Natsupoi walks up to her and acts like she's about to give her the high five. Nope, double slap across the face, ring the bell. And then Natsupoi, has her way with her pretty much until she wins. Throughout the match, like she's taunting her, stomping her, and then like she's doing her pose, like I don't know a better explanation for Mai's pose other than it looks like it looks like the definition of look back at it. So,
God damn it!
But I don't. I can't. You come with. I'm gonna send you a gif of it, and then you tell me if you can come up with something better than Maya looking back at it. I don't know what to say, but whatever. That's point of winning. So then you end up getting into the Grand Prix matches, and Takumi ends up. Let me go through this one quick. Takumi carried Roaka for 8 minutes. I don't know why does it need to go 8 minutes. Maybe, obviously Roaka for 16, I think she's pretty good. I think that she has a long ways to go. She's not like, her 16 is not Starlight Kid and Azumi and Hazuki 16 and Momo 16. Just not, but it's
not the Bunny 16 either.
I I don't know what 3.5 star match you ever seen Rock have the Bunny have, but I seen Rocka have one of them. So
I was saying the Bunny got a different 16.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. 16 years is biz. So yeah, but to come in and win, like I think I may have gave it 2 and 3/4. Like that's one of the. I think I'm only giving like 3 or 4 matches under 3 stars in this thing. This thing is like consistently good matches. You're never like left like looking at your clock or looking at your phone like when is it going to wrap up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, continuing on, Momo versus Kaguma, really good match. Probably like 3.25 above average, man, or better, a little better than good. Momo ended up winning. I forgot how, but she ended up winning. Then you get Tam versus Azumi. And man, like the high level of difficulty for a 12-minute match between those two, with like trying to get Tam, who is not the most athletic in the world, to like basically wrestle in essence a high-speed match with more of her Tam, storytelling and drama and selling involved in it. But like it was still great. I ended up going 3 3/4 on it, but the match, if Tam had been a little more spot on like 2 things, I could see people like giving it 4s left and a full out 4 left and right. But I ended up going 3 3/4. Like I ended up watching it back twice, and I was like, wait, huh? But it ended up being better on the second watch, but it's not the point. Yeah, just really, I would say go back and watch this, and there's more of the thing. It was like, why the fuck is Azumi like right now at this point we are watching the show. Like by the end of this review, she will be 1 in 5. And you're like, y'all had to put her, y'all like looking at what she's doing or in these 3 shows, like she should have been on the other block with like at least 6 points. Like it made no sense to put her in. Obviously you put her in there to have the matches because she's so fucking good, but it's like you just watch her wrestle and you're like, she's gonna have like one of the 3, 4, 5 best average star ratings in this tournament, but she's gonna be 1 in 5. What the fuck? Whatever. Or probably 2 and she'll probably end up in like 2 and 7 or some shit like that. Whatever. But yeah, really, really awesome match. And Tam actually gives some respect. Doesn't pin her with the regular Tiger Suplex. Pins her with her super finisher. So yeah. Then you end up getting Shuri versus Unagi. Really like this match. Ended up giving 3.5 stars. It is a progression of the 2 matches they've had prior, where back at the beginning of the year, like Shuri destroyed her and said, "You're a million miles away, but you got heart, kid." And then before the Grand Prix, they had a singles match, and Shuri felled Unagi, and like it was, and Unagi like she was like you can see the progression, but then at the end, like Shuri just punt kicked her face off, and then it won on a knockout. And it was like, I thought it was like brilliant booking. Like you showed progression from one match before to the next one. And then at the end, like the better wrestler just basically said, I'm ending this shit now. And in this match, it was actually the first ever competitive, 50-50-ish or 60-40 match, you want to say, between those two. And at the end, Shuri ended up winning. And then Shuri ended up getting up Unagi. And they had this big hug and whatever else. And then like you can see that like Unagi or Shuri had a lot of effort in these matches in this story between those 3 as an undercard thing. Like you can see that with like Shuri and Unagi on these Road 2 shows. You can also see it with like Julia and Roaka or Julia and Starlight Kid, where like the Donna Del Mondo members, even though they're they stay they're way up there above everybody else as far as the faction, as far as staying protected, like they get into these things with some of these younger girls, and like they have no problem selling and putting over their shit, but they're going to win at the end. So it's really cool. So the main event of this match of this show was Kamitani versus Maika. It was a lot like their Cinderella tournament final. The finish was abrupt. Like Saya didn't win with a Phoenix Splash or anything as big as that. Like she won with a Flash Rana Cradle, which is gonna become a running gag almost in this tournament. Like it's almost, how you talked about how someone comes across a new finisher and that changes their kind of outlook in the tournament. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of what happened with Kamitani. Like she lost the first 2 matches, those first 2 pay-per-view matches to Shuri and Utami, And then like she's like, what am I gonna do when I face Tam? I got it, Flash Rana Cradle. And then she's like, I don't think she's beating anybody in this tournament without the Flash Rana Cradle. And it's like, it don't matter if you're 16, it don't matter if you're my career rival. I'm just gonna use it and I'm gonna win. And it's worked for her. I think, you know, I feel like if that is going to be her thing, she needs to not do it 5 times in a match with Takumi, but whatever. She'll learn.
It felt like she was getting closer. She was in a sneaker like the whole time in that one.
Yeah. I think over time she'll learn how to just like realize like I need to save that, kind of like how, you know, Azumi saves Azumi Sushi, or Hazuki would save the Lamai Straw. So, once she figures that out, she'll be there, because she has. I'm liking her more and more watching this tournament. Obviously she's in there with some of the best wrestlers in the world, but like she's holding her own. So that was the end of. So sorry, by the end of the match, Kamatani said like, you know, I think she just at this point in time, even the career series with Micah in singles matches, I think they're now 2-2. But she said like, don't take your eyes off me. She said she's she's a point leader for the blue block right now with 9. She's wrestled all her matches, but she has 9. Or she ends up with 11 by the end of this review. But yeah, so next show after that is the Cork and Hall show, September 16th. And I've overstepped where I was looking at. All right, yeah, here we go. So undercard stuff. Hannah beats Lady C. It was funny. 16-year-old is 5'2", just tall Joshis that are like inexperienced and goofy, and it's almost like they're two like gazelles almost that like just learn how to walk. But it was okay. It wasn't a disaster. Lady C and Hannah, like that. We'll see where this is in 4 years. Starlight Kid versus Waka. So Starlight Kid, like, she was really invested in having a good match with Waka, and like for her to do it, she basically had to do almost all the work. But it ended up being a fun match for what it was. She ended up getting the win. So
like the bad guy, she did it herself.
God damn it! So, now I'm expected to see bad influence for Starlight Kid.
Hey,
oh my god,
she is a bad influence now.
Anyway, Starlight Kid ended up working over her back and then slapping on her Texas Cloverleaf to get the win, or on the tap out. Himeka versus my god, like, I don't know what happened, but by the end of it, like, there were some hard shots and big boots and clubs and sliding lariats. And at the end, Himeka won and did not look happy and seemingly stormed out of Cork and Hall. It looked like it got a little stiff. I mean, I don't know what happened between those two, but like, we know who's supposed to win that match, but it's just, but the right person still won, but it was funny. So then you get to the Grand Prix matches, Natsupoi versus Saki.
I just inserted the bad guy, bad influence video in the One Nation Radio Discord, and put Starlight Kid underneath just to let y'all know who I am associated Starlight Kid with now.
Oh my god! So
bad guy, she break the law, ain't got no rubber shoe.
Stop! Please stop. So Natsupoi versus Saki. This match is okay. Like it went like 5 minutes in. They were more or less like trying to see who could mock each other more. Like Natsupoi would do Saki things, Saki would do Natsupoi things. Ultimately at the end, Natsupoi's beginning to win with I watched this morning. I can't remember what she won with, but she won. Then you end up getting Momo versus Mina. This is a fun match. I thought that I think I like their match from the April pay-per-view more, but this is still like a threat or still like a 3.5 star match. Mina and Momo work really well together. I mean, Momo's great, obviously, but like Mina, it feels like a lot of like she doesn't have to. I don't know. I don't know, but they just work really well together. They have really good chemistry. I guess is the best way to put it. But by the end, Momo ended up winning with a peach bomb, the move she ended up hitting on Mayu, where she, instead of dropping her back into German, or the pump handle German, she flips her forward on her back. Next match after that, Kamatani versus Azumi, and boy, this is Rich Lad of Pro Wrestling. Like, if Rich ever wanted a match from starting to be on some PWG shit, this was it. Flips or flips and dives of each other, counters, rope running, ducks and dives and slips and everything. And man, like,
yeah, I didn't get to this one, but I meant to.
They're fucking good. Like, it's fucking great. This is like the third time I got to say it on the show. Like, she's fucking great. 8 minutes. I ended up giving this 3 3/4. Like, they were dynamite. Like, this is like it almost is like watching like an 8-minute version of the Joshi version of like what would be like Ospreay versus Ricochet from that one. I think it was Best of Super Juniors. Like, yeah, like there's not many Joshi that do flips and dives and flying around, and these two added a good amount of that, like, not crazy stuff. Like, it wasn't off the charts stuff. Like, it wasn't exactly Ospreay, but a lot of stuff was involved.
I know they're working from an athleticism deficit at times, but I know they do their best.
I ain't talking about that. I just meant like as far as like compared to in the realm of wrestling that they come from, where like you watch a lot of these Joshi matches and they feel like you're watching like wrestling from 20 years ago, but like it's just hard hitting and everything, right? Like, as far as like what they did in these 8 minutes, it felt like a jump forward. Like, someone's gonna watch. I hope someone watches this and like gets inspired to like then like take it forward in the Joshi realm from what Azumi and Kamatani are doing right now. Like, obviously, like, I'm not saying she's like either one of them are Manami Toyota as far as a revolutionary, but like they're just doing stuff that you just don't see in Joshi, getting the spots in the ring that you normally don't. If you watch a lot of Joshi, you're not accustomed to really seeing that often. So it was cool. Oh yeah, in running theme, Kamatani wins with a flash Rana Cradle. So Takumi versus Unagi. Takumi. This reminded me of like the early Shuri matches that Unagi would have, where like she's holding on for dear life, trying to fight. It's almost like watching Rocky and Rocky 1. You're fighting the best, and you fight her fighting the best in the world, and you got to hold on. And there was one where like they were having a brawl back and forth with forearms, and then Takumi hit a rolling forearm, and then like it staggered and dropped back Unagi, and Unagi went to fire her up to go to swing, and when she went to swing, she collapsed. Like, it was fun. This was like one of the weaker Takumi matches that she's had in the tournament, but like it was Unagi. Like, if we start taking out Unagi and Roaka out of this tournament, so like an average rating there, you'll be like, damn, all these people are damn near at 4. But yeah, this is like I end up giving this 3 1/4. Like, I'm looking at the cage match. People have this at 3 1/2. I just didn't like it as much, but it was still a good match. So then you get Mayu versus Kaguma, and Mayu basically said, like, I'm just going to do anything in my power to get Kaguma over with as far as her offense looking dangerous. There was a spot where like Mayu, like, she took a high angle German, which is like on her neck, and those look brutal. They ended up out on the floor, and Kaguma's on the floor, grabs her in a front face lock, and then like tornado DDTs off of the apron, and instead of going into the mat, like, she DDT'd Mayu's forehead into the metal guardrail. I was like, what the fuck are y'all? And it wasn't on accident. That was on purpose. Like, Mayu said, hey, grab me, swing off of the apron, and then send me into the guardrail, and just bash her right into her forehead, right into the fucking metal. And like, by the end of that, they ended up having a double count out. But I was like, God damn, like, you ain't got to do this no more, Mike. Why are you like this? Yeah, I ended up giving this match 3 3/4. Like, I understand that like she's not in the blue block, but like she's had a number of matches that makes you like almost feel like she's trying to compete with Shuri, who's literally like I've given all but one of her matches 4 stars. She's like 8 for 7 right now, right? It feels like she's almost trying to compete with knowing that she's like behind the 8 ball, like, and it's like, damn, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. Like, obviously I'm being selfish. I'm trying to say, hey man, I don't fuck yourself up before you get to this Tam match, but still, like,
oh, you know, the agenda's at play.
Oh yeah, the agenda's definitely at play. I need this match. So, semi-main event, Konami versus Utami. Konami attacks Utami while she's up in the ropes, still with the mask and in her jacket on. They end up technically wrestling. Utami targets Utami's arm, which I think are the best matches when Utami's arm is hurt. She's one of the best arm sellers in the world. I've said this multiple times. Utami's powering through with power stuff, suplex or whatever. Konami ends up hitting a springboard. Enziguri reminded me of Arisa Oshiki. Just awesome stuff. Konami gets a Kimura, gets multiple arm bars, fights for the ropes, and then by the end, Utami has the match seemingly won, gets her up for a BTMI Black Tiger Bomb, and then Konami escapes and gets inside Cradle and gets the win. Konami has beaten Utami, Shuri, and Takumi all with roll-ups in this tournament. So she, before they were tuning her up and warming her up to gi with a 15-minute draw with Tam and a 15-minute draw with Utami before the tournament. They're putting her in there. She's beaten 3 of the 4, heavy hitters in the block. They are clearly setting her up for a title defense for whoever is Red Belt champion at the end of the year. Like whether that's Takumi, whether that's Shuri, whether it's Utami, she's getting a title shot on pay-per-view at some point at the end of the year. By the end of the year, so really happy for that. They've been gearing up towards this whole time. Right now, I think she's at I forgot where she is. I think she might be at like second place or I think she might be second place in the block right now. So then you end up getting Shuri versus Tam, and man, they just emptied the gun, and they had like a 12-minute version of the pay-per-view match they could possibly have, and it was fucking fantastic and dangerous and scary, and like they at the end of it, after suplex each other on the apron and having Shuri roll off and melt to the floor and all types of stuff. Like Tam gets so fed up with like trying to deal with Shuri that she fucking while Shuri's on her hands and knees, Punk kicks Shuri's head off, doesn't get the pin, and then by the end, Shuri returns favor and Punk kicks her head off and then ends up dropping her with Emerald Frozen. But in the meantime, like, just excellent fucking wrestling. It just went 12 minutes. I ended up going 4 1/4 on. I love this match. Like this block, this block is fun. Like I wonder how much better the block would be if they all had that block to themselves, like how the G1 is, where it's like you run your 5 matches in red block, y'all run y'all 5 matches, good fucking luck. But in the time frame of the matches they've gotten, like whether it's 9 minutes at times, sometimes whether it's 12 minutes, whether it's 13 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, like they are going to give you a great match for whatever time they got in. Like they're just not like just almost like the most efficient, brutally efficient wrestling you could possibly see. Like all these matches go like 8 to 12 minutes, and they're just like fucking bangers. And like, I don't know how many of these you want to rewatch, but like these will hold up for a few years on rewatch because they're just like brutally efficient and make the most of their time.
Yeah, you can watch a number of these matches in short succession. Like,
yes.
Which is always welcome, especially in contrast to other companies.
Is it potentially a the male subdivision of professional wrestling in Bushiroad you're talking about?
Yeah.
Shocking. I had never heard of these differences. I was completely unaware of such a thing. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You wanna watch this match, right?
Yeah. I watched it. Saw her drop Tam on her head at the end, the Emerald Flosion, and I was like, man, I'd like to see them running again.
Yeah, man. So I was gushing about Azumi. As far like I had wrote like in my 600 word things like Azumi turns after basically going through to talk about the highlights and whatever else, and like she had a 4-star 8-minute match, a 12-minute 3 3/4 star match, and another 3 3/4 star match, like back to back to back. In basically like a 6-day span. A 5-day span. This woman is 18 years old. She turns 19, I believe, on October 1st. She might be the best mid-card wrestler, pure mid-card wrestler going. Like, who else are we saying, hey, you don't get fit, you're never getting 15 minutes, you're almost never going to be in the summer main event, and deal with it. And the wrestler says, all right, boss, and goes out and goes and get 40.
I would say Ishii, but even he sniffs main events.
Right. Right. That'd be the only one, I think.
Yeah. So when she turned 19, you said?
10 days. In 10 days, she turns 19.
So we probably got like a year left of her before retirement then.
Oh, don't stop this shit. Stop this shit. I need 5 to 6 years of this. I need her at the top of the card in the Stardom and in this Bushiroad era on pay-per-views. I need that. Like, I think Shuri has cemented herself as someone deserving of being a candidate for best in-ring performer on the One Nation Radio Awards this year, given this run she's having. And then like what next is left is like Takumi on the final night. And then, if she wins, that means she gets Utami in the on the pay-per-view, the
One Nation Radio's own matchup right there.
Right. Like, so I think she's, given the tag match she's had this year with Julia, the match with Utami early in the year, her SWA title match with Azumi from February. Like, I think she probably has more 4-star matches than anyone else that we cover this year. But like this, like you said before, like this company's fucking loaded with talent. Like, just loaded.
Yep, anywhere you want to look, like up and down. Like that budget has been good to them, and they're the big game in town. Like, and they're gonna keep getting talent. Like, people gonna have to live with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like y'all like the other Joshi's, the smaller people, smaller companies. Like, everybody gonna have to bow down. Like they say, bow down to the queens. Like, when the Queen's Quest group comes out, like, hey man, you can have your problems with the company. At the end of the day, they're importing Takumi to come to Stardom. At the end of the day, like,
no, but the thing, you can't even say that though. You can't even say that. Like, Takumi trained, graduated, and debuted in Stardom. Like, I was actually when Jeremy LeBoy in our Largo Loop thread posted a thing about somebody shooting. I went to go look at the Yoshiko shoot video from 2015, and I forgot about this, right? That click that 2014 to 15 click that Yoshiko was in before she left, that click had Io, Mayu, Takumi, Yoshiko, Hazuki, and Azumi.
Yeah, they're rolling deep. That's like the Wu-Tang.
That was a faction. That was just a faction. Like, obviously, Hazuki was still in high school, and so was
Azumi probably like 12.
Azumi was like 12 or 13 or some shit. But like, but that's still like, look at that. When people talk about like they poach talent, or they're poaching talent, is like they're bringing in like from Tokyo Joshi Pro, like Natsupoi was a mid-carder, Unagi was a rookie, Mina was an import from some lingerie fed that before she ended up in Tokyo Pro was at the bottom was a prelimmer.
The Mina.
Yeah. So it's like Julia, Shuri, sure. But Shuri was a freelancer. Julia was an Ice Ribbon. Julia would get title shots. But I don't remember her being considered a main eventer in Ice Ribbon. I think she was upper mid Carter. Like they had Maya Yuki, they had Risa Sera. They had Risa Sera, and they had Suzu Suzuki and Tsukasa Fujimoto, who were like the top 4 stars in Ice Ribbon before.
Hey, man. They got to go where it's hot. They got to go where it's hot, and Bushiroad is hot, or excuse me, Stardom is hot at the moment. You can't say all Bushiroad's property is hot at the moment, but it's just like in America, like it's a talent race. Like I probably feel like it's a talent race there as well. Like
it is.
So like
it is. Look, Natsumi Maki, from Ice, originally from At Rest Girls. And also, like I said, Mina, like, don't get me wrong, like, Stardom has, I feel like personally, like, the people they've added with, like, Mina, Unagi, Waka, and Mai, like, that is more or less like, hey, we didn't really have a rookie class the last couple years. Like, our last real rookie class, like the 2019 class with both Desaias.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2020, we only got one that graduated. That's Lady C. Like we don't really have, like we're bringing in people to come job for us, and then eventually they'll be good in like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've really, I think the Julia thing is like the thing that people like just lose track on. Like the Julia one is the actual only one really so far. Like not say that like things might not change. Like, and quite frankly, like if you want to bring in Arisa Nakajima, or if you want to bring in Sariano or anybody else that can fit that mold, bring them in. I don't care. But I treat it like people, they treat it like it's WWE, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, the problem with WWE isn't that, like, they're evil because they read out talent. The problem is that like, they get all that talent and then they don't do shit with them. And their wrestling stinks a lot of the time. Like, that ain't happening with Stardom. They're not, like, if WWE was, like, working at, like, the mass, like, let's do this. If Tony Khan was booking WWE, and I talked about this before, if Tony Khan was booking WWE would be fucking awesome, too. That's really what it comes down to.
It wouldn't break it all up into sub-brands where people can't wrestle each other for years and years and all this dumb shit.
Probably not. They probably wouldn't have feuds that go on for like 6 months, and then like 2 years later, like they have another feud, and then like they pretend like whatever happened before never even thing that happened or existed.
And then like in other cases, they will pretend like it did exist. So like, yeah. So I mean, look, let's just drive by real quick. WWE, let's just drive by.
Yeah. Like I think that's a lot of like when people talk about when you go to the Voice of Wrestling Discord, you see people on Twitter lose their minds about like, I can't believe Takumi Iroha is beating Unagi, and because like Unagi spent a hard year in WWE. You sent me this, Rich. That's why you made a feeling. Who said that? You sent me this. Like early this week. Bro, Takumi graduated from the dojo in like 2013 or 14.
Yeah, I saw a couple of that person's tweets, and I was like, bro, what? You're off the res.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, wait a second.
Like, think about what you're typing.
The incoming poaching Takumi Iroha that has like 30 more career matches in Stardom than Unagi? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And not even that. She's fucking Takumi Iroha. Like, she's an ace level star. Like, what are you saying?
How dare, Rich, how dare they bring in one of the 35, 40 best wrestlers in the world, unquestionably,
bro,
to the tournament, and then beat a prelimmer? How dare they, Rich?
Bro, that's
disgusting. Me of why don't they stop?
This reminds me of when people were up in arms about like Kenny Omega squashing Sonny Kiss. I'm like, who fucking cares? It's Sonny Kiss. Who cares? And I'm not saying Unagi's is like low on the totem pole of Sonny Kiss, but it's the same relative like talent gap. Like,
oh man. Oh well. I don't know, man. Like if you can't enjoy what I've been watching, if you're watching it, I don't know what to tell you. I would say find another promotion that's as easy and breezy as fun as this one is. Like, bruh, that last show we reviewed, right? That's 4.25, 4 stars, 3 3/4 or 3. I'm sorry, whatever. Basically, all these matches are like 3.5 to 4 stars, and it's like 5 matches in a row. What?
Yeah, man. I think people have this distinct box of what they want.
Yeah, and
none to be, and if it's not that box, they have trouble with it.
And none of these matches went 15 minutes. Like, that's the thing. Like, this is brutally efficient wrestling at the peak of it. I don't think I've ever seen no shit like this in any promotion. Like, maybe New Japan should start having these matches. Say, hey, Okada, Shingo, Naito, you want to go 20? You want to go 27 tonight? Nah, 15. What you got? Fuck that money clip.
Right.
Let's see what happens. It's not going to make for a worse watch. Guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, is there anything else, or that's the end of the show?
Nah, that's the end of the show. Yep. Oh, I think we got something. Nope, nothing else. But thank everybody that joined us live in the stream. I'm gonna try to pop these streams up on my Twitch. You can just follow Twitch TV or just type in Rich Latta on Twitch, and we'll be here Monday nights, and just watch for the links when I send them out, and you can listen to the show live.
Yeah, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app or Twitch you're using to listen to this with. Go to our Red Circle page and drop us off a donation. Hardworking people here, One Nation Radio. And by people, I mean 2. Just me, Rich. Be sure to check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex to pick up some official Social Suplex Network merchandise. Olds on Top, One Nation Radio, Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Keepin It Strong Style, all that.
Check the clips.
Yeah, check the clips. Rich will be posting up. I don't know if he's going to post and clip me like shitting on the rest of the Joshi scene. I hope not, but we'll see how this goes.
James shits on the rest of Joshi. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna clip yet. I'll have to listen to it.
Rich, I could have went out there and talked about the motherfuckers that are talking about Tokyo Joshi Pro and Gato Move, and are better promotions than Stardom, but I didn't even do that. I didn't even get into that.
That's later this year.
Yeah. Especially when that voice of Russell Makase come out, and I gotta hear them two of them 3, and John only wants some damn sense. Talking about best in-ring performer, Suzuki. She's really good. She's really fucking good. You thought she was out here having like 4 3/4 star matches? No. So what are you doing? Okay, anyway, that's not the point. So, also check out those shows on the network. This show, One Nation Radio, Tuesdays, Keepin It Strong Style. Wednesdays, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Every other Wednesday, go and watch this shit. Thursdays, the Grave Consequences Podcast. Fridays, 8-Bit Suplex. Saturdays, All Things Elite. And Sundays, the Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the re-sculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.